perfect on your way back. Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody or anything is missing. Or your daughter's first birthday party. You planned it with such dedication that instead of the first, it felt like our 15s. The same way you plan each detail for those moments. Start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit. And make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Everything's changing so fast these days, and that's a great thing. Back in my day, we were lucky to get one video to load on a desktop computer, but now there's the Xfinity 10G network. That means the fastest internet with faster speeds rolling out all the time, an internet that can power a house full of devices at once with ultra-low lag. So while one person streams a movie in their room, another can play video games in the basement, while another TikToks in the kitchen. It's the next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Through December 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet with Wi-Fi equipment included. It's all just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile and unlimited data at regular rates. Go to xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary. The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity.
Your holiday list is more challenging than ever. Is Uncle Edward still alive? And do I need to get him a gift? But there's another holiday challenge waiting. That paint project that got put off. And now it's front and center. Uh-oh, forgot that one. The good news, other than finding out you made Santa's good list again this year, you have 5-Star Painting. 5-Star Painting is custom painting from interior to exterior, new construction and commercial. 5-Star Painting is local and offers free color consultations by Sherwin-Williams, complete with free color samples. Plus, if you love free paint, schedule an estimate and get details. It's not too late to paint for the holidays. Visit 5starpainting.com and learn about their overall excellence. 5starpainting.com. Remember to ask about free paint. 5-Star Painting at 5starpainting.com.
Time again for traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Andy?
Well, that southbound 15 crash is still affecting drivers going from American Fork down through Pleasant Grove towards Linden. North 15 still has a little bit of delay around 215 in Murray. Davis County to Salt Lake City, though, back to the full entire speed limit. I-80 slow between Kimball Junction and Highway 40 in the Park City, Summit County areas. The IRS harassing you? Are tax problems ruining your life? Let Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox help. Visit taxhelput.com. That's taxhelput.com. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Right now it's foggy, but the sun's set to peek out as the day goes on. This week we could see temps creep into the 40s. So 40 today, 47 by the end of this 7-day period. If you can see the mountains this morning, take one last good look before the inversion sets in here. Right now, 30 degrees in Salt Lake City at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Hey, folks, welcome to the show. Dave Noriega. No Debbie Dujanovic today. She's off. Instead, I got Marty Carpenter with me. And Marty, KSL at night host. You do other things in your day job. That's just your little side hustle you got going on.
I just hang out with you guys somewhere at Broadcast House anytime I get the chance.
Yeah, I do. And I love that you do it. It's fantastic. All right, it's 9:07. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things that typically Debbie wants you to know, but today it's what Marty and I want you to know.
Countdown. 3.
Okay, so I'm going to just put this out there right away. There is a stigma. It feels like you're throwing money away, but I want to make a case today, Marty, why it's better to rent than to buy. It sounds so icky to say. why you should be renting and be fine with renting instead of buying.
Well, then I'll buy and you can rent from me, and we'll have that debate.
Oh, now it's all about capitalism.
Countdown to...
All right, Harvard's board has announced that their president, Claudine Gay, she's going to stay their president despite calls to oust her, despite other university presidents getting booted or having to resign after a very strange congressional hearing about anti-Semitism on campus. Ms. Gay was asked directly, does calling for the genocide of Jews qualify as harassment or bullying? And she equivocated. And she kept her job. It's incredible, Marty.
A tough thing to pull off in the year 2023, but I think most people would say, hey, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and if you're going to set one standard for any other group, that should be applied across the board. Doesn't feel like that's the case.
Launch countdown 1.
All right, let's talk about inflation. Inflation holds steady as consumer prices only go up 3.1% year over year in November. But there is a decline in gas prices, so maybe it feels a little better. Oh, wait. Gas prices don't count in this inflation calculation. These numbers come as the Fed holds its final meeting of the year tomorrow, expected to bring another decision on interest rates. So are they going to raise interest rates, continue to raise them, hold steady, drop them? Marty, when we're talking about interest rates, we see it. We see it in mortgages. We see it in credit cards. It has been punching us in the nose for the last couple of years.
Inflation has been the biggest financial story for about a year and a half now in the United States. Gas prices dropping does make a psychological difference, but does it actually make a difference in your pocketbook? A little bit, and it trickles that way because we use gasoline to ship things around this country. But does it make enough of an impact for most families to say, things really are better now than they were 2 months ago? I don't know. Tough to say.
And low gas prices in December. Yeah, come talk to me if it's July.
Lower gas prices.
You're right.
It's $2.80. I still drive by there and think, it's better. Should be about $1.40 lower than it is.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Priced out. Inflation. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
So again, inflation raises 3.1%. Now, the goal number is 2%. So, it's still 50% too high, according to what the Fed wants. It's at 3.1%. The CPI, this is the inflation index, it takes out food and it takes out fuel. Because they say, it's just too volatile. Gas prices go up and down too quickly. The price of bananas goes up and down too quickly. So this is the quote-unquote core. So all the stuff that doesn't count fuel or food. I've always found that super weird. Like, why do we just discount some stuff and not others? Economists probably have a good reason for it. But, those are the two biggest things I probably purchase day to day.
Fuel and
food.
Yeah. Gas prices to me are such an interesting one because they do have an impact across the economy, right?
Yeah.
You watch that, primarily watching that diesel number that most of us don't have to pay too much attention to next to the unleaded prices, because when those go up, that makes the cost of everything go up, right? We use diesel trucks to move things around this country primarily, along with trains, obviously, but even, some of that's fueled by petroleum products. So, gas prices do make an impact, and I always think it's like the first thing you notice that goes up because it goes up quickly and then it trickles down.
It's totally what it does. It skyrockets and then it parachutes down.
I do remember this most wonderful time, though. This was probably in like 2005 or 6. I lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is like, an oil hub of the country. And at one point, gas was coming down. I remember watching this. Gas would come down multiple times per day there. So, like, I would drive into work, and I remember the price being something like, it's $1.35 for a gallon of gas. So it tells you how long ago this was. $1.35 for a gallon of gas. Get into work. I was at a TV station then, so, go pack up the camera, going to go shoot our first story. Leave and be like, That's $1.33. Went down 2 cents in an hour. Come back from the store, it's $1.31. Leave that night, $1.29. Like, this is the most amazing place I've ever lived. Gas just keeps coming. Like, what would make the price of gas come down 8 cents in a day, 2 cents every couple of hours? I never could figure it out. But I can tell you, just speaking to the psychological impact, I just remember always thinking, well, this is awesome. It just keeps coming down 2 pennies at a time. Does that make a big difference to me? Not really.
Not really.
But was it just amazing to see? Yes.
Well, I think when we look at it, and there's obviously, you've got so much that goes into gas prices. You've got a winter blend versus the summer blend. It's more expensive. Apparently, the summer blend is more expensive, so they jack
keep
up
it
prices.
from evaporating. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
That's
you
what it
actually
is.
know?
Yep.
Stop
keep it from evaporating.
Evaporating from where? From the gas
from
tank?
like the tanks and from the just moving it along.
I had
That's
absolutely no
the
idea.
blend is at least partially to keep it from evaporating.
Okay, so evaporation, apparently that's a thing. Okay, so that's the blend. But I think when we look at gas prices, and again that diesel cost, and diesel costs have just been ridiculous. So much more expensive than just regular gasoline, which is in part, as you said, has this trickle down effect because that's what are powering the semis, and there's such a trickle down effect on that. But
makes the cost of bananas go up because it costs you more money to move the same amount of bananas.
Totally. The Utah average right now though is $2.99. So we're under $3. We're all celebrating. Like we're kind of giddy. We're like, it's in the family group chat. Did you know you could get such and such?
I'm surprised that it's that high because you and I both live in Kaysville, which is notoriously for some reason like the highest gas price in the state. It always seems like it's like 10 to 15 cents higher than everywhere else. $2.86 this morning.
That's what you saw?
Yeah, on Flint Street and Second North. That's what I saw this morning.
How you've just flooded Flint Street and Second North.
Actually, go to Dave's neighborhood. Go on.
Stay out of my neighborhood. It doesn't matter. I drive an electric vehicle. Well, you do too.
So
what do
I.
you care?
I just look at it as I drive by. That's what I say. It's a psychological thing. I look at it and say, I actually think it's. I've told people before. It's the most impactful political yard sign that's out there. Because they're on every corner and it's a price. And if it's high, like when it's $4 a gallon, you don't want to be running for president when it's $4 a gallon.
No, you do not.
So here we are coasting into an election year.
Is it
suddenly
convenient? Is it convenient that all of a sudden in the election stretch that all of a sudden prices are becoming more reasonable? Last year, $3.62. That was the average. Right now, it's just about $3 a gallon. So 60% drop year over year.
What's the lowest you ever remember?
99 cents.
I remember 89 cents at one point.
I'm older than you. How do you remember that? Oh, yeah, that's
better
right.
memory. You're older than I am. You forgot.
I remember back when it was 82 cents. Like, not in the Carter years, friend. Not in the Carter years. All right, when we come back, there's inflation. There's another element to it, obviously. The inflation reports released today. The Fed interest rate is going to be released tomorrow. Let's talk to one of our resident experts, Robert Spenlove. He's a senior vice president over Zions Bank, economic public policy advisor. Okay, so do the inflation numbers, will that give a good indication of what's going to happen tomorrow with interest rates? And are interest rates ever going to come down, or are they just going to sit there and marinate for the next year or so?
Dave and Dujanovic. We're expanding Dave and Dujanovic on KSL.
Now they'll be live on Fridays.
Starting in January, hear Dave and Debbie at 9 and the movie show at 11.
Finally, Friday on KSL News Radio.
The BYU Cougars are on a roll. For three, right corner. That's good! Wednesday, BYU plays Denver. Make sure you're streaming the nationally ranked Cougars on the KSL News Radio app. BYU, Denver. Pre-game Wednesday at 6 and tip-off at 7 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio.
All right, folks. I've been telling you about Fed Up Kitchen for a while now. And the reason I love Fed Up Kitchen is because I like to eat healthy. I don't eat healthy because either I'm lazy or it's inconvenient. So, you go through the drive-thru, you get sucked into, all the fried stuff with cheese. And listen, I love fried stuff with cheese. It's just as a treat as opposed to like the staple Noriega feeding routine. Fed Up Kitchen is a healthy meal prep service. Healthy, delicious, ready-to-eat meals. You can order online, and then the next day you can either pick it up, they can deliver it to you. I love the chicken corn chowder. The turkey chili cheese fries were amazing. I had a spinach, what was that? A spinach strawberry salad with a vinaigrette that was to absolutely die for. Fantastic. The meals are made specially for males and females, so they make sure they track the macros, the calories. It's high in protein, low in carb, gluten-free. So all you have to do is go to fedupkitchen.com. You can log on, get an account, figure out what plan is best for you. There's a great deal right now, 20% off if you use the promo code KSL for your first order. So 20% off. Make sure you type in KSL for that promo order at fedupkitchen.com.
Last year, other dealers were charging up to $10,000 over MSRP, but those cars haven't held their value. I'm Josh Osborne with Volkswagen Southtown. If you owe more on your car than it's worth, exchange it.
Is your car payment too much? Exchange it. Is your interest rate too high? Exchange it. Want a better price? You guessed it. Exchange your vehicle at Volkswagen Southtown today. We've got rates as low as 2.99 APR, low leases, and thousands off MSRP.
Come and see us or visit us at VWSouthtown.com.
Financing through VCI on approved credit.
In 400 AD, a forgotten time in ancient America, warrior prophet Moroni must preserve the history of his fallen nation while being hunted by a ruthless tyrant.
Where is the brave general now?
From Freestyle Releasing and Great Scott Entertainment comes
In memory of my God,
The Oath.
my faith and my freedom, my wife and my son.
The Oath, now playing in theaters. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. More information is available at oathmovie.com.
When words come out of our mouths and everything sounds fine, no one bats an eye. But if things come out a little jumbled or letters sound different than most, there's speech therapy. But did you know that speech therapy is used for more than just stuttering or disfluency? From articulation to expressive and receptive language to a simple act of swallowing that most of us take for granted, speech therapy can do amazing things for you, your health, and of course your sense of self. That's why Summit Speech Therapy is here. Summit Speech Therapy works with people of all ages, from infants and toddlers who have a difficult time feeding or eating, TBI, stroke, or coma patients, to children and adults with speech problems. So much of it is all related, and Summit Speech Therapy can help. Summit works with all insurance companies as well as private pay options, and the experience can be life-changing. With clinics up and down the Wasatch Front, including Murray, with no long waiting for an appointment. For more, visit summitslp.com. That's summitslp.com.
You can't expect a policeman to unclog your drain. You shouldn't ask a teacher to change your oil. And you wouldn't want a fireman to clean your teeth. So why would we let politicians take over our internet service? That's just not what they do. Experience proves government-run networks mean waste, corruption, and failure. One example, called Utopia, promised to provide internet service in 16 cities within a few years. But over 20 years and hundreds of millions of dollars later, a better name would be dystopia. They say it's almost complete. We say stop wasting our money. Go to nogovinternet.com and tell lawmakers enough is enough. Local tax dollars are precious, and public employees have plenty to do already. Don't let politicians mess with our internet. Paid for by nogovinternet.com, a project of Domestic Policy Caucus.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, Harvard University's governing board announced its support for President Claudine Gay, and they say she will keep her job. Second, Jewish leaders from around the country are asking friends to put a menorah candlestick in their windows this season to show Jewish solidarity. And third, a proposal to repeal an educational equity rule is on the agenda for the State Board of Education meeting next month. We're going to look for a high today of 40 degrees, and with some hazy sunshine right now, it's 30 in Salt Lake. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Priced out. Inflation. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
So the inflation numbers that came out today, pretty good. It's called the CPI. We've been tracking it forever. So when we talk about that, inflation is at 9%. This is the same metric that we're talking about. So it was 9%, was it 18 months ago? Or over a year ago? I'm trying to remember. July of last year.
It's hard to keep your bad economic news straight when it's just consistently
it has been
bad.
a steady diet of bad economic news.
Forgive me if I've lost track of my Fed rate hikes.
What number are we at? 21? 21 straight rate hikes. Marty Carpenter filling in for Debbie Dujanovic. You can hear him on KSL at night. Also, as we're discussing inflation, it almost comes in the same breath as the Fed and the interest rates. So, as you said, it's hard to keep track. It was just a steady increase, a quarter point at a time, maybe even a half a point at a time, that they were raising interest rate or the Fed interest rate. So what is it going to look like? Now, if you're wondering the cause and effect of the Fed constantly raising the rate, well, you see it in your mortgage rates, right? It wasn't too long ago in 2020, 2021, you could get an interest rate at 2.5%, 3% on a 30-year mortgage. I mean,
I got one of those.
It's laughable. I do too. And guess what? We will never leave that mortgage.
No.
We're never going to refinance.
Yep.
We're never going to move. We might, rent it out, but we will never sell that property. Not at 2.5% or 3%.
Sure.
There's no way that'll ever happen. So that has its own unique economic impacts. So it has raised and raised and raised and raised over the last several years, and now we're looking at interest rates that are 7.5%, nearly 8%, and it has radically changed how much you are paying a month.
If you're getting a new mortgage, right? For a lot of people, it doesn't impact it, but it slows the market down as far as going to buy houses, right?
Yeah.
And whether or not you're going to sell your house, and then think of how that drags everything out, right? If you're not buying a house and you're not paying for a moving truck, then you're also not probably buying some new furniture and furnishings for a new house. That kind of drags it down. Like, all of this has an impact. So that's the way that the Fed has figured out. That's how they can kind of put the brakes. And why did they have to do that? Because we pumped so much fake money into the economy that everything all of a sudden went up in cost. So we're trying to get it under control. The Fed, while this isn't fun, they're at least trying to put some controls on this. I wouldn't say they're the start of the problem, but it is. Yeah. It is rough for folks who want to go, look for a new place.
But their job is to control inflation. That's their primary job, and they've slowly brought it down from 9% down to 3%. It's still, probably a percentage point too high. Robert Spenloff joins us right now, senior economist at Zions Bank. Robert, okay, first of all, we'll talk inflation numbers. What came out today, 3.1% year over year. What do you see in those numbers?
Well, it's a good number. Like you said, we started to see that inflation taking off in the spring of 2021. And before that, inflation had averaged around 2%, but then in 21 it jumps all the way up, and by summer of last year we're at 9%. Now it's back down to 3%, but the Fed needs it to get back to where it was before. It needs it at 2%. It was relatively easy for them to get it down to 3%, but that last mile, that last little bit of getting it back down to 2 is going to be really difficult.
And Robert, for those mathematically challenged among us, myself included, and you know this very well that I'm mathematically challenged. If you've gone from 9% inflation to 3% inflation, things are still inflating. So we've sort of slowed the increase, not actually decreased very much. Is that an accurate way to say it, or am I way off base there?
No, that's exactly right. And that's why consumers are grumpy. And they're grumpy because the rate of change is slowing, but the prices haven't gone back to where they were before. I'll tell you, I was talking to my wife just this morning. So one of the big items is meat prices are slowing. And I said to my wife, hey, it's great. The meat prices are coming down. And she said, well, then why is a roast still so expensive at the supermarket? And that's what consumers are thinking about. They're saying, well, the inflation is slowing, but prices are still too high.
Yeah, it's a new set point. That's what concerns me. And I know CPI, doesn't take into account gas and food, but nevertheless, I'm not sure we're ever going to see beef at $4.99 a pound again, for a roast. It seems like it's settled in right at that $6.99 or higher.
Yeah, and what's really driving this, so if you kind of split out inflation into goods and services, so goods prices were primarily driven by the supply chain disruptions, the problems we have with shipping. So most of that has worked its way out. So goods prices are slowing or coming down, but it's the service sector that still sees inflation even higher than that headline. So in the last month, service sector inflation was up over 5%. And then housing inflation has started to tick up again a little bit too. So that's the problem, that inflation has been coming down, but we're starting to see signs of it being sticky. So it's starting to kind of stall out, and we're seeing some subsectors starting to increase again.
All right. So what does this mean for the Fed? Are we going to see interest rates hold steady? Are we going to see them tick up? Or are we going to start to see them tick down a little bit? What do you think?
So that's the big debate in the markets. If you look at the 10-year bond, it's actually dropped significantly in the last month. It's gone from about 5% down to about 4.2%. That's the market saying the Fed is going to drop rates. However, the Fed has been very clear. They've said we are going to keep rates higher for longer. So there's this battle between markets and the Fed. The Fed is going to be announcing their decision tomorrow. I don't think they will change rates at all tomorrow. But the big question is, what are they going to do in 2024? With the jobs report that we got last Friday and with the inflation that we got today, it shows that the economy still has more strength than the Fed anticipated. So I think they do keep rates higher for longer.
Are they brave enough to say, we're going to raise it because we're still not there? We haven't made that last mile yet.
Yeah, so and that's what they had said. The Fed was telling us that they were actually going to increase going into the end of this year. I don't think the conditions are strong enough for them to do that. And I'll tell you, over the next few months, you're going to see a lot of pressure, political pressure on the Fed to drop those rates, especially heading into an election year. And it's a big question about whether the Fed is willing to kind of hold tight and keep the higher rates in there, or whether they'll kind of cave to the pressure and drop rates. And that's going to be a critical insight into this relationship between the Fed and the market.
That's a great point. Robert Spendlove, thank you for joining us, senior economist at Zions Bank. When we come back, let's talk about the Ukraine war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is meeting with President Biden. He's going to speak to Congress really around the additional funding, since there is an impasse. Congress, the Republicans and the Democrats are battling it out. They both want to fund Ukraine, but some want to, a little extra, a little attached, and that was called the southern border. So ABC News joins us next.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes with a look at our top stories this half hour. Starting with our top national story from ABC News. A federal jury ruled that Google violated antitrust laws in running its Android app store. Here's ABC's Elizabeth Schultze.
This case was brought by Epic Games, which is the creator of the popular video game Fortnite. Epic accused Google of maintaining a monopoly on its app store by charging companies fees when users make purchases from a game like Fortnite. Epic CEO writing victory over Google and free Fortnite, the company calling this decision a win for consumers. Google is vowing to appeal, saying that this trial actually made clear that we compete fiercely with Apple in its app store, as well as app stores on Android devices and gaming consoles.
If you see a menorah in a window this month, it could mean the family in that home is celebrating Hanukkah, or it could mean that the family is showing its support for the Jewish community. Here's KSL News Radio's Dan Bomas.
Jewish leaders from around the country are asking friends to put the 8-branched candlestick in their windows this season to show solidarity at a time when anti-Semitism has been on the rise. Rabbi Sam Spector with Congregation Kol Ami told KSL-TV he's grateful to live here in Utah.
We have a city that resoundingly rejects anti-Semitism and all forms of hate.
If you put a menorah in your window, they're asking you to post a picture on social media with the hashtag Project Menorah. Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio.
Let's see how the markets are doing this morning so far. The Dow is up 103 points. That's closing in on 0.3. The S&P is up about 0.1, represented by a 5-point gain, and the Nasdaq is up this hour by 30 points, or 0.2%. Coming up, high temps and dry conditions, unseasonably so here for the month of December. We'll check it next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
Start your days with knowledgeable, friendly voices telling you about the latest news and weather out there.
Hi, this is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
In the business of waking you up each morning from 5 to 9.
On KSL News Radio.
Kidney cars, donate your car today. Tax write-off, hip, 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 hooray. Kidney cars, give your car away. Tax write-off, and you will save today.
The staff of the National Kidney Foundation of Utah would like to wish you a merry holiday season and remind you that it is better to give than receive, but not better than giving and receiving. For example, if you give your car to the Kidney Foundation, you may get a tax deduction. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS with a K. That's 1-800-TOWKARS. To donate your used car to the Kidney Foundation, call 1-800-TOW-CARS with a K. That's 1-800-TOWKARS.
Kidney cars, donate your car today. Tax write-off, hip, 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 hooray!
Call 1-800-TOW-CARS with a K.
Introducing Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. We're bringing all of Utah's favorite HVAC, plumbing, and electrical brands under one roof. Get your home's electrical system running in peak condition by scheduling a $79 whole home electric inspection with the professionals at Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric today. The electrical experts at Yes are ready to help identify unsafe conditions and possibly prevent expensive repairs in the future. Proudly serving Utah for more than 45 years. Call now or visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. I've got to tell you about the shopping experience that Dee and I had the other day at the Western Nut Company. First of all, when you walk into, I like to call it the mothership, the store right there where all of the magic happens at 434 South on 3rd West. You walk through the door and the smell of the nuts that are being roasted right there in the back area and the decor, it is just a holiday experience. And the great selection, from Paul's Brittles to traditional Western Nut gift boxes that are all pre-wrapped, ready to go, to even the beautiful decorations. And they're playing an old music box that just puts you in the mood for gift giving this holiday season. And be sure to pick up some treats for yourself. And by the way, Dee and I always mail things back to Dee's relatives in Missouri. They do the mailing right there. Look for the kiosks that are going to be popping up all over the place. You can also go online at westernnut.com. You're going to love it.
Hey, this is Travis Kelce, NFL tight end and proud member of the Lowe's home team. Lowe's knows when you've got the best price, you've already won. That's why we offer the lowest price guarantee. If you find a better price online or in store, we'll match it. Now you can score on the top brands from the Lowe's home team picks, like Scotts, LG, and DeWalt. So take on your projects with confidence. Lowe's is the exclusive home improvement retail partner of the NFL.
Price match applies to same item, current price of qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. I believe it's Heather Kelly in the traffic center.
It certainly is, and things are moving along very well right now, Tim, all across the Wasatch Front. All of our earlier accidents appear to have gone, or at least they've been moved over to a shoulder, so there's no delays on I-15 throughout Utah, Salt Lake, Davis, or Weber counties. Now, if you're heading up toward the Park City area, we do have some delays eastbound I-80 between Kimball Junction and the US 40 turnoff, but I think that is construction related. Two Brothers Mattress, your locally owned Serta mattress dealer. Visit any Two Brothers Mattress location from Salt Lake to Orem. Find sale prices now at twobrothersmattress.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today's supposed to reach a high of 40 degrees, which, believe it or not, is the lowest expected temperature for the entire week. Temps are going to creep up to the late 40s as the week goes on. We'll also have a dry week ahead of us. Right now, no chances of rain or snow either, so the haze is really going to start to build up tomorrow. Hazy sunshine downtown right now and 33 degrees at KSL News Radio. 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The war in Ukraine. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is meeting with President Biden. Will speak to Congress. He's looking for additional funding for the Ukraine war. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer spoke today about why the funding is needed.
If he gets the help, he can win this war. And he outlined in some great detail
the kind of help he needs and how it will help him win. Even many of our Republican colleagues talked about we are winning this war. And if we get the help if he gets the help he needs, he will win. On the other hand, he made it clear, and we all made it clear, that if we lose, Putin wins.
Now, Marty Carpenter is filling in for Debbie Dujanovic today. This is something a little bit predicted by Vladimir Putin, who said, America's going to run out of patience for Ukraine way before I do. I'm way more committed toward Ukraine than America will be. Is that what we're seeing?
Probably a little bit. What strikes me is this feels a little bit like someone with a startup going around to VCs trying to get funding, right? Like, hey, there's upside here. There's potential. We can win this, but we need to keep the funding going. And I think you can make a really good case that there is a foreign policy interest for the United States to continue to fund it. It in part is how does Congress feel about it? We know the president is on the side of continuing to fund it. Congress, particularly in the House, where they're pretty close to their constituents. A lot of constituents right now, going back to our previous segment, saying inflation's really high, food costs me a lot, we got a lot of problems here at home. It's a little frustrating to see numbers followed by the billion going over to Ukraine when you say, well, there's stuff we really should address here at home. I think that's what's the political pressure is coming. Yeah. Folks at home say, things aren't so great here. Why are we sending the money away?
Utah Senator Mitt Romney was on Meet the Press, and he said both sides, both Republicans and Democrats, support Ukraine's fight against Russia, but there is not an endless supply of money available.
Well, we're not going to write a blank check. We're going to evaluate exactly how the money is spent. What we're going to do is provide Ukraine with the weapons they need to defend themselves against a brutal invasion by Putin, who is a thug and a murderer.
Liz Landers, ABC News correspondent out of Washington, joins us right now. And Liz, last time Zelensky came to speak before Congress, he received a standing ovation. What kind of reception do you expect this time around?
I think today will probably be a little bit more muted. That seems to be sort of the reaction we've heard so far. Most of what we've seen of Zelensky so far today has been on Capitol Hill. He's been making the rounds this morning. He got there a few hours ago, met with the Senate. When he went in and met with the Senate, reporters outside of the Senate chamber said that they could hear the applause. So he was greeted warmly by the Senate. But we haven't heard much of a readout other than what Senator Schumer has said quickly on the Senate floor after Zelensky met with all of those senators. So I think we're going to have to see how this kind of plays out throughout the day. Right now, we know that Zelensky is in a meeting with the House Speaker, Mike Johnson. The House is going to be a much harder uphill battle for Zelensky in terms of convincing the members there of that much larger and more diverse body to support him. It's also the Republican majority in the House right now, and more of those members of the Republican House conference have indicated that they are tired of sending a lot of money to the tune of billions of dollars to Ukraine now as that country enters the third year of the war starting in February. So I think we'll hear more from Zelensky probably later on in the day directly when he meets with President Biden, and then they are expected to have a joint press conference.
So when I think about what has changed over the last year, things that would pop to mind, one, we've had inflation stayed really high in the country. Two, we've all sort of been, I hate to use this word, I don't mean to use it in a trite way, but like distracted by a different conflict. We've looked at the Israel-Palestine situation kind of takes people's attention away. And I think to a certain extent, voters look at it and say, we're sending money over there, but it doesn't feel like Ukraine's making any progress. Are those sort of the three big driving factors that have changed from last year? Is there anything else that would, I guess, A, is that an accurate perception? And B, is there anything else that has sort of changed from last year to this point?
Yeah, I think that summary is exactly right. I also would say that, we had the midterm elections last November, and then we also had a new party take control of the House, that being the Republicans. And I just think the Republicans have put a different priority on this kind of funding, especially as this year has gone on. And also, Republicans have put a much bigger emphasis on border security. We hear that time and time again. Mitch McConnell has continued to link border security to this additional supplemental funding request that now the Biden administration asked for this funding back in October. I was looking at the timeline of this. So this has sort of been sitting with Congress for a while, but McConnell again said yesterday that border security is ground zero for keeping Americans safe. So I think that also that's a factor as well, the changing over of the balance of power in the House and how Republicans have really put an emphasis on linking border security to this overall spending.
Do we have any idea what numbers we're talking about, how much money they're talking about sending to Ukraine, how much money is wanted for border security?
Yeah. We do have a sense of that. So the initial request that the Biden administration sent back at the end of October was overall, the package request was $106 billion. About $60 billion of that was going to be for Ukraine. Around $14 billion of that was going to be for Israel. And then I heard this again today because the national security spokesperson John Kirby was talking about this on TV. Around $6 billion of that would be for border security. So you can kind of do the math and look at the proportions there. Border security getting a lot less money in that supplemental funding request than Ukraine, Israel. And then there was also some funding requests in there for Taiwan to help them protect their sovereignty against China. The United States is very concerned about that potentially becoming conflict in the coming years. So that is sort of the overview of that spending request. And, Republicans were overall asking for cuts to that, saying that it didn't need to be more than $100 billion, which is a staggering sum of money.
Liz Landers, thank you for the update. ABC News correspondent out of Washington. Always so good with such great information. But, Marty, as we're looking at $60 billion that would go to Ukraine, $14 billion to Israel, $6 billion for border security. I don't know where the other $26 billion goes. That's very Washington math. Like, I don't know. We'll figure out a way to spend the other 26.
Can make it out to cash and send it to Marty Carpenter.
I love it. You know what? Let's split it. I'll split it. You and I can both sign for it. But it will be very, very interesting to see if this goes through. We've heard a lot from the Republicans that say they support Ukraine and funding Ukraine in their battle against Russia. They just want that $6 billion or so for border security to be able to address the crisis at the border, where apparently there's about 10 to 12,000 migrants crossing every day, according to Mitt Romney. So we will continue to follow this. When we come back, we talk about shrinking government, or government's too big, let's make government a little smaller. Well, in Argentina, let me take you to the new president and the incredibly bold moves he's made to shrink the Argentinian government. And is that maybe what we're talking about? Is that a possibility here in America? You won't believe what he's done in just his first few days.
Dave and Dujanovic. Treat yourself to the depth and analysis on Inside Sources.
Floyd Matheson goes beyond the headlines of the biggest stories.
Listen to Inside Sources from 1 to 3
on KSL News Radio.
One of the things that my family and I really struggle with, especially during the winter season, I mean, we love skiing, we love all that stuff, sledding. We do not love the winter and the dry skin that comes along with it. We had Connecticut of Utah come out to our house, and they were giving us this huge list of the way soft water can really protect the guts of your house. You know, anywhere where that water is running through the pipes, hard water can be brutal on those pipes. But I was really focused on the dry skin aspect of it, because I remember when I was growing up, we always had soft water, and they described it, how it works scientifically and why soft water is so good on the skin. And sure enough, the very first time we took a shower, we could feel the difference. Like we were actually talking about it, like, oh yeah, you can feel the difference when you have soft water. You don't have that crazy scum that builds up on the shower walls. It almost feels like you need a jackhammer to clean it off. So if you're interested in soft water, if you want that soft skin, give them a call, Connecticut of Utah, 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600, or you can check them out online at softwaterutah.com.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. The holiday season should remind us that faith and family are the most important things in life. And we hope that you succeed in coming together this holiday season with those you love and in the process creating some generational memories. Holidays have this magical power to magnify small things to ever greater memories over time. What a return on investment. Happy holidays.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Salt Lake City area attorneys. 910 West Legacy Center Way, Suite 120, Midvale, Utah, 84047.
Everybody knows that your credit history can have a huge impact on your life, Amanda, especially when you're just starting out as an adult.
That's why Utah Community Credit Union, UCCU's new Credit Builder Loan is such a great idea. It's a way to build or to rebuild your credit.
All right, so let's talk about how it works. With Credit Builder, UCCU will open an account in your name and then provide that account with a fixed amount of funds along with a small automatic monthly payment. And as your automatic payments are made over time, of course, your credit builds, proving you're a responsible borrower and raising your credit score.
And that credit score is just so important because it determines the interest rates you'll get, higher credit limits, better loan terms because of your credit score.
And by the way, if you have kids in high school, open a Credit Builder loan in their name, and that way they're going to graduate from high school with a good credit score of their own.
It's called the Credit Builder Loan from Utah Community Credit Union, UCCU.
Just call or text UCCU or stop by any branch and start building your credit today.
UCCU, you're going to love where you bank.
It's not too late to save big on your holiday carpet cleanings. The Zero Res Holiday Sale ends today. Schedule your carpet cleaning today and pay just $25 per room. That's right, the $25 deal is back just in time for your holiday cleaning. Zero Res is the only no-residue carpet cleaner in the area. With their ZR water, there's no soaps, no shampoos, and with no residue left behind, your carpets stay cleaner longer. Plus, with a no-residue cleaning, you don't have to worry about any nasty chemicals left behind either. For carpets, ducts, tile, furniture, and more, Zero Res is the right way to clean. And if you've been waiting to get cleaned up for the holidays, this is the sale you've been waiting for. $25 per room for carpet cleaning. Sale ends tonight. Must schedule Monday or Tuesday, and you must clean before the new year. You don't have to clean today, but you do have to get on the schedule. Call Zero Res right now or jump online to schedule. $25 per room. Minimums apply. Zero Res, from Nephi to Ogden and everywhere in between. Online at zerores.com.
Advanced window products, from their factory to your front door in 8 weeks. Affordable windows guaranteed. 801-850-9100 or advancedwindowsusa.com.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, President Zelensky is in Washington this morning talking U.S. aid to Ukraine. Second, Christmas trees are the cause of most house fires this time of year, and fire officials say it's important to keep them away from heat and water them every day. And third, there's a nationwide movement to have people display a menorah in their windows to show solidarity as anti-Semitic incidents are on the rise. We will look for a high today of 40 degrees, making some progress out there finally. It's 33 downtown. Now back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
All right, we don't talk about world politics very often, at least the who gets elected to be president of whatever country. Like, it's just, it would be impossible to follow.
We didn't come into this segment playing Don't Cry For Me, Argentina.
You know what? That's an epic fail.
That's a whiff.
That is an epic fail.
That's a whiff on my part. I didn't think about it until just now, but...
Caitlin, if we can look into, is it Evita? Is that the...
Yes, it would be Evita.
Evita, Don't Cry For Me, Argentina.
Madonna.
Madonna.
It's Madonna singing it.
Oh, that's right. Did she Was she the actress?
She was the actress in the movie
as well. Okay. Okay, so I don't know very much about Argentina. But I will
or
tell
Madonna
you this.
or Evita.
And I'm not sure what in the world Madonna is doing playing.
Let's start
in
here.
Argentinian.
Argentina is a country in South America.
There we go. Okay.
They're known for their beef.
Delicious beef.
Delicious
beef. They have been off and on extremely successful as a country. They have a lot of resources. You'd mentioned the beef, but they have a lot of resources. But over the last several decades, they've been wildly mismanaged. The value of the peso, which is their currency down there, is just absolutely abysmal, and they're looking for major changes. Poverty is rampant, so they elected a Trump-esque candidate is pretty fair in this way. He is an outsider. He was kind of a TV economist, very brash personality, very outgoing, kind of captivating in the way he speaks.
A non-traditional candidate, didn't come up through any kind of political
Exactly.
ranks.
Yeah, had never served previously. Well, that's not true. I think he was a representative, had been elected to the House of Representatives. Apparently, he just hardly ever showed up. So he kind of a strange cat. But his name is Javier Milei. He was elected to be Argentina's president, and for years, Argentina. There we go. You and I both speak Spanish, and it's like I can't say Argentina for some reason.
I see it, and I want to say it the same way you just did.
It is so. I apologize. I haven't spoken Spanish in 20 years, but all of a sudden I can't say Argentina. But Milei is an economist. He had a radical plan to remake the country. The Daily, which is the podcast from the New York Times, was looking into who this guy is and what happened to Argentina, and what went from a very prosperous nation to where they're at right now, where there's rampant poverty, crime, all sorts of problems, and they're looking for massive changes. We'll get to some of his changes, these radical changes that he's implemented almost on day one. But the Daily, the New York Times, lays out what happened to Argentina. Now, Marty, I want you to listen to how closely the problems that are going on in Argentina and some of the policies that we're enacting here in America.
Well, it's a long story, but the short story is that it's really just decades of deep economic mismanagement. A series of left-leaning governments has expanded the social safety net with things like free healthcare, free universities, a dramatic expansion of social programs, deep subsidies for energy and public transportation, big pensions, and all of that without much economic revenue to pay for it. But to make up for that shortfall, they have drained economic reserves, they have taken out massive international debt, and also just printed more money. And that has left the peso much less valuable and prices skyrocketing.
As you listen to that, what did you think?
I'm reminded of a statement by the great former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. The problem with socialism is that at some point you run out of other people's money. And that's exactly what happened here. They ran out of their own money. You sort of, hey, this is the same kind of thing. You just print money without actually increasing your GDP. And eventually what you have printed is worth nothing.
And you look at these programs, increasing the Social Security safety net, Medicaid, Medicare, their version of that, free university, free health care, free transportation. We've even talked about that here in Utah, whether or not to make Frontrunner or Trax or UTA free fair February. Wasn't that a thing last year?
It has been, as we've had inversions, in the winter.
Yeah, so it was, number one, it was kind of chilling because I heard so many similarities, but anyway, the Argentinian peso, the inflation has increased 100%. There was a headline that said mountains of money worth nothing. In fact, a store owner has to check prices several times a week to adjust for the inflation. 3 or 4 times a week, he has to go onto a website and readjust. Okay, well, how much does this thing truly cost? Now, this is day one, essentially, from Milei. And what he wanted to do was he wanted to reduce spending in the government. He said, we're just spending way too much money. We're going to have dramatic cuts. So there were 18 cabinet positions, very similar to what we have here in America, Secretary of Treasury, housing, all sorts of stuff, healthcare. And listen to, now this is him explaining what he is going to do, and he speaks in Spanish. So I'm going to play it, even though if you don't speak Spanish, I'm going to give you a key word to listen to. Afuera. That is the key, which is like, they're gone. So listen to how many times, and this was like a minute long. I'm just going to pull, 15 or so seconds. Listen to the word afuera.
Ministerio de Cultura, afuera. Ministerio de Ambiente y Desarrollo Sostenible, afuera. Ministerio de las Mujeres y Género y Diversidad, afuera. Ministerio de Obras Públicas, afuera. Aunque te resistas. Ministerio de Ciencia y Tecnología.
It goes on and on and on. All of the cabinet positions that he would get rid of. And sure enough, they were swearing in cabinet positions yesterday. And he only swore in 9 of 18 cabinet positions. Can you imagine in America if we just hacked half of the federal agencies and just said, you're done?
I think it'd make a lot of people pretty happy. There are at least some that we've talked about on the federal level that we could do without, things that the states could run better. But yeah, that's living up to a campaign promise, it sounds like, and doing it in a bold and flashy way. There are things that need to run in a government, so you wonder, is this you're hacking at this with a meat cleaver instead of a scalpel?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like if you've got 100% inflation and government spending out of control, you probably need to be pretty aggressive.
I was looking at the federal agencies here in America, and this was just a quick little Google search. 21. State, Treasury, Defense, the Interior, General, Agriculture, Commerce, Labor, Urban Development, Transportation, Energy, Education. 21. That's what we have here in America, and at least. And could be as high as 26. But, whew, what a move by the new Argentinian president. Kind of exciting, though.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. It turns out that a woman who was just shopping and having dinner in a restaurant with her family was the victim of a very slick theft. She was just sitting there, and the thief was able to get into her purse without her family members who had been sitting with her even noticing. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has more on that.
70-year-old Joy Thomas says she's mystified this could happen at a busy restaurant in the middle of the day, but it did. Security camera photos posted by Thomas's daughter-in-law show Thomas sitting with her purse by her feet at the restaurant and a woman at a neighboring table grabbing her wallet in front of Thomas's family. The post says it didn't take long before there was an $800 charge to Thomas's credit card.
Riverton police are looking into the case. If you want to see pictures of the suspects, you can go to kslnewsradio.com. And right now, our top national story from ABC News. A high-stakes visit from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who was on Capitol Hill today to meet with senators. Zelensky, President Biden, and lawmakers are pushing for an aid package that's currently stalled in Congress. Here's ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers.
We heard the president say this last week, and we expect him to say it again today, that this is about what would happen if Ukraine were to fall to Vladimir Putin and Russia. If Russia were to overtake Ukraine, what country would be next? And if it's a NATO country, then the United States would have to step in and defend a NATO ally because of that commitment under the Article 5. And if that happens, it's going to cost the United States and taxpayers a lot more than it does right now.
That's Karen Travers. Your money at this moment. The Dow Jones average up on the day, again today, 136 points right now. The NASDAQ is up by 20 points. And our KSL weather, yeah, we might just develop an inversion later on in the week. That's next. KSL News Time 10:02.
What do you need to hear in the morning to feel ready for the day?
Important news that happened overnight, the traffic you'll hit on the roads.
You'll be ready for your day with us.
Join Utah's Morning News 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Everything's changing so fast these days, and that's a great thing. Back in my day, we were lucky to get one video to load on a desktop computer, but now there's the Xfinity 10G network. That means the fastest internet with faster speeds rolling out all the time, an internet that can power a house full of devices at once with ultra-low lag. So while one person streams a movie in their room, another can play video games in the basement, while another TikToks in the kitchen. It's the next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Through December 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet with Wi-Fi equipment included. It's all just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile and unlimited data at regular rates. Go to xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary. The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity.
At Common Spirit Holy Cross Hospitals, we're honored to carry the legacy of our namesake and to extend the legacy of care in our communities. We're part of 20 hospitals and 240 clinics across Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
With our roots in northern Utah, Common Spirit Holy Cross Hospitals have a legacy of caring to help every person be whole and healthy. We're part of 20 hospitals and 240 clinics across Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to build your income based on inflation. You know, inflation has been rapidly rising. You and I both need a plan that whatever we start out our income at, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to need 40% more income. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
It's Macy's Great Gift Sale. Take an extra 20% off gift ideas from designers they'll love with your coupon or Macy's card. That's on top of great deals on women's sweaters, coats, and PJs, 25 to 50% off. Beauty essentials from Origins, Elizabeth Arden, and more, 25 to 40% off. And the season's hottest toys, 15 to 50% off. Plus, everyone gets $10 Macy's money for every $50 spent. Now at Macy's. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Heather Kelly.
Things are looking great right now all across the Wasatch Front. We have had a couple of minor fender benders on I-15, most of those in Utah County, but they're over to the shoulders, not causing any type of delay. And city streets are running pretty nicely in Salt Lake Valley as well, so you don't have any problems on the east or west side belt routes, 201 Freeway or Bangor Highway. The Zero Res holiday sale is now on. Just $25 per room for carpet cleaning. Schedule Monday or Tuesday and clean before the new year. Schedule today online at zerores.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we'll see some clouds along with some East Canyon winds today. The winds will pick up tonight along the northern Wasatch Front from Logan to Farmington. Sun comes out tomorrow. There's a chance for an inversion building up to trap pollution in the valleys over the next couple of days. And right now, 33 degrees, mostly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Now, obviously, we spend a fair amount of time on social media here in the KSL News Radio department. We've seen a lot of videos on social media. Organized gang of thieves ripping off stores around the country. We've had that obviously happen right here in Utah. I think of the Apple store in Farmington. You know, people bust in, rip everything out, and they're out, in just a couple of minutes. So while many of those thefts, you largely just see the employees standing by, not trying to stop anybody. Typically, even if there is a security guard, they're not being very confrontational, especially if this organized crime comes in with a group and they outnumber the security guards. Who's going to stand up and really confront? Marty Carpenter filling in for Debbie Dujanovic today. I think what I want to know is what can be done, or is this just something that the thieves have realized that they're better at thieving than we are at preventing?
Well, a couple things I would say about this. One, they're highly organized, right? So it's very choreographed, often to go in, for exactly certain items, and then get out. There's a shock and awe to it. It's highly organized. And the interesting thing about this as a larger policy problem is it's not that they're just stealing things to then go make money and then spend that money on lollipops and moon pies. They are using that money to fund what I think most of us would say are far more serious crimes like drug trafficking and even human trafficking. So this is an issue that's not just, hey, did a big box retailer have to file an insurance claim to get some money back? It costs consumers, but it also has a bigger impact with more serious crimes.
One thing we're starting to see more of is violence against retail employees themselves. So it's not just the thieves coming in, stealing, and then getting out, but there have been a couple of cases nationally where employees have been murdered in two separate instances, whether it's fashion departments or grocery stores. It is skyrocketing. Joining us right now is Troy Rawlings, who's the Davis County attorney. And Troy, I promise we will call you for other things, but you've always been so willing to discuss this problem and even kind of the uncomfortable truths of what can and can't be done and what the future needs to look like. We're obviously seeing retail theft in Utah. Are we seeing violence that accompanies it?
Yes, and you guys always frame the issue well, so I'm happy to join you. Thank you. We are, and sometimes the violence is more passive in the sense of exhibiting a weapon, and I know that's not necessarily passive, but it's not the aggressive nature of the physical violent attacks that we see, although occasionally that does happen as well. But it is on the rise. There's some interesting statistics about that and about the increases over the last few years. We'll see what the end result of the 2023 data brings, but to help address your questions, whichever direction you want me to go, I think that there are tools prosecutors have in our arsenal in Utah that we can use to try to help effectively address this when it occurs, as well as an interesting statute about what merchants can do themselves. So whichever you guys would like me to tackle first, let's do it.
Those both sound awesome. Let's go with bullet point one.
All right, prosecutors, when these type of crimes happen, we have our traditional retail theft statutes, but I think as Marty outlined, sometimes when this is an organized criminal activity, we have a couple statutes in Utah. If people are committing crimes with 3 or more persons in an organized effort, there's some enhanced penalties prosecutors can and should seek. We have a racketeering statute in Utah that can also felonize if it's an organized criminal activity. They're putting proceeds back in to commit other crimes. Marty laid it out well. Prosecutors can go after those. If there are weapons displayed, everything from aggravated assault, robbery, burglary, these are all felony-level statutes in addition to the retail theft. Possible kidnapping if there's a detention of employees long enough. So we have in Utah, when these things happen, if prosecutors employ them, a plethora of statutory enactments that would enable us to really bring down the hammer on these type of organizations. And the good news is about the racketeering or the in concert with 3 or more persons, we can go after the organizations and the people as a party that are aiding and encouraging and benefiting and profiting off of it. That's the type of aggressive thing that needs to happen around the country to try to put a dent into the organizations that are having their lackeys go out and do things like what they did in Farmington. When it comes then to the merchants, themselves. We have a statute in Utah that actually allows merchants, if they choose to do it, and I am not suggesting or telling merchants how to run their business, just what the law is. Should they choose to train their employees or have security staff or whatever they want to do, merchants themselves can detain suspected shoplifters or violators of this statute as long as they do it reasonably. They can do it for a reasonable amount of time in a reasonable manner. I guess that means using reasonable force, although the statute is silent on exactly what it means. And then it gives merchants a defense to that if they had probable cause and they used reasonable manner of restriction for a reasonable amount of time to do an investigation, to notify law enforcement, they can be exonerated in a civil lawsuit. It's a defense to civil litigation if they get sued for wrongful detention. So should merchants choose to employ that to try to get law enforcement and get time to get them there, they can detain these type of people themselves. Obviously, merchants know better than I do what the capabilities of their staff are, their technology, their ability to do that. Can they hit a button and lock down doors? Are they putting their staff in danger? What kind of trained people they have on site? So a lot of dynamics that go into it. But just so your listeners know, merchants legally have the ability to detain people that come into their store and commit the type of crimes we're talking about if they feel that that's the direction they want to go.
When you say reasonable, and I understand it's almost purposely vague, but I guess I would think, if I'm trying to detain somebody and they're trying to, can I just stand in their way? Can I physically put my hands on them? Because I guess what my definition of reasonable and 12 of my closest friends of my peers may see it differently.
No, you're exactly right, and I think the legislature did leave it vague on purpose. And reasonable means under the facts and circumstances presented, what level of force was necessary to effectuate the detention, and you can't up the ante. For example, here's the easy one. If somebody's not displaying or using deadly force on you, a merchant can't pull out a gun or use a knife or deadly force to detain the person. They could try other means, as you suggest, stand in front of them, lock the door with them in it, those sort of things, but it has to be reasonably calculated for the simple purpose of detaining them for a short period of time to do your investigation or call the police, or if it's a minor, call their parent is an option too. But yeah, you can't up the ante with the level of force. Maybe that's the best way to look at it. You can't use more force than they are using, but you can match that level of force if it's reasonable under the situation to detain them for a reasonable amount of time. And I get it. What does that mean? Your question's spot on. That's what the statute says. And as prosecutors, we have to make case-by-case determinations as to literally what would a jury do. A jury of everyday average Utah citizens, would they believe it's reasonable under the circumstances or not? If there was a crime being alleged against the merchant for detaining, and in a civil lawsuit, they've got a defense under the statute as well. But yeah, there you go. It's a fact-specific inquiry as to what the person did in a given situation as to whether it meets muster under the law or not.
I've always wondered about this because I've seen the videos, and it seems like they're usually in California, Oregon, places where you're less likely to run into customers who are armed. I don't see a lot of these videos in Texas. I don't see them in Oklahoma. And Utah is a little more of that on that side of the spectrum than California. What would your counsel be to customers who may be in the store who maybe have a concealed carry or something like that? Is it best to let it happen and law enforcement's going to catch up to them, or how do you want people to act in that situation?
Yeah, and again, the same type of principles would apply to a concealed carry permit holder. They can only use their weapon or deadly force if it's reasonable under the situation and in response to deadly force. So obviously the best situation is if deadly force is not being employed or deployed by the criminal that's committing these violent acts, to not draw your weapon or use deadly force in response to that, or you could be looking at getting yourself in trouble. They could step in and intervene, though. But if deadly force is being used, yes, a concealed carry permit holder in Utah would be justified under the law in employing their own deadly force in that situation if it's actually being used by the perpetrators of the crime. They're trained well on that when they get their concealed carry permits. There's very good instructors in Utah, a lot of concealed carry permit holders in Utah that know what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. And they're probably very prepared to govern themselves well in that situation for public safety in their own. But I think you're probably right. In Utah, it's probably why we have less of this in other states where that is not as prevalent. I think you're spot on, Marty.
Troy, I'm super out of time, but I just want to squeeze this last little question in there, maybe 30 seconds if you don't mind. But are retailers, are the merchants, are they doing enough to actually stop these people, call the police so that it even gets to you, because you have all of these things available to you. None of it matters if the shops don't report it and the cops don't investigate it.
We wish they would do more, but it's a cost-benefit analysis for them. What can they afford? What's their insurance companies willing to pay out, and those sort of things. But, yeah, we wish that we saw a lot more aggressive measures by retailers.
What about people like me that is standing and watching it happen? Would you like to see more from the Dave Noriegas of the world as well?
Personally, yes. Legally, you're probably putting yourself in a precarious situation, Dave, where people don't put themselves in harm's way and make a situation worse than it is. And so, govern yourself accordingly. But we wish that there was more detention of people committing these offenses in a reasonable manner.
Troy Rawlings, thank you for joining us, the Davis County attorney. Such great insight, letting us know what our legal protections are, what the protections are for the shop as well. We want to take phone calls next. Give us a call, 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Are you okay with stores or maybe customers detaining shoplifters? Or is that too dangerous? Are you uncomfortable with it? Is that the right move forward? 801-575-TALK.
Dave and Dujanovic.
2 new reasons to drop in on KSL on Friday mornings.
Starting in January, you'll hear Dave and Debbie Fridays at 9.
And hear the movie show at lunch from 11 to 1.
On KSL News Radio. Think about all the ways you use your phone. But are you getting KSL's breaking news updates?
We've got a storm to start the day.
Israel Defense Forces are adamant that they're just following protocol.
The White House is getting worried about Russia's growing relationship with Iran.
The vacancy left in the Quorum of the 12 Apostles has been filled.
Get alerts, links to important story articles, and updates on severe weather and traffic. Text the word news to 57500. That's the word news to 57500. And stay connected to KSL News Radio.
At Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital, we made a bold promise to build the nation's model health system for children. Join us in realizing our vision for the future of pediatric care. So together, we can expand primary children's impact and ensure every child has access to the right care at the right place at the right time. For a century, Primary Children's has kept the child first and always. Help us continue to do so for the next 100 years. To get involved, visit primarypromise.org.
Up to a 30% upfront bonus and 12% per year guaranteed growth for retirement. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and these are the highest guarantees with annuities I have seen in my life. When interest rates are this high, there are silver linings, and annuity guarantees are one of them. Up to a 30% bonus upfront for retirement income. On $100,000, that's up to $42,000 guaranteed in the first year. And it's because of the economy and its high interest rates. Don't let anyone, especially another financial advisor, tell you it's not true. Up to 30% upfront just for opening an account and up to 12% per year guaranteed income growth. Don't miss out. This won't last forever. If you have an old 401k, get up to 30% upfront and 12% guaranteed growth for income today.
Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
Merry Christmas, honey.
A Bernina embroidery machine? It's wonderful.
Bernina products are wonderful Christmas gifts that you'll love and use. Take advantage of these holiday specials at Dave's Bernina in St. George and Provo.
Save thousands of dollars on world-famous Bernina sewing machines, such as the B700E for $2,999, the B500E $1,999, and get a free $2,000 embroidery module when you purchase the 770 Cave machine.
48 months, no interest on certain machines.
Purchase the L890 Serger and receive a free Bernina Studio cabinet, a $3,250 value. How about $2,400 worth of free gifts when you buy a Bernina B790 Pro model?
25% off all Bernina luggage, embroidery hoops, and presser feet.
Amazing bargains on previously owned and demo machines with warranties at Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bonas. First,
Thieves stole credit cards out of a woman's purse while she was just sitting in a restaurant. She didn't even know until the charges started showing up. Second, UTA plans to expand Frontrunner into Box Elder County, even though cities there have voted not to fund it. And third, Ukraine's president is making the rounds in Congress, hoping to win approval of a new aid package to help in his war with Russia. Right now, 33 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We just had a fascinating conversation with Troy Rawlings, who is the Davis County attorney, and the discussion is retail violence. So we have seen this obviously across the country, even here in Utah, where organized crime and Marty, as you're filling in for Debbie Dujanovic today, Marty Carpenter, host of KSL at Night, we've seen this happen so many times where these mobs, it's no longer just one person. It's a handful of people, 2, 3, 5, 10 people that are going into retail stores, clearing them out, and they're gone. It's before they can hit the emergency button, call 911, folks are gone.
That's because you shouldn't think of it as just a shoplifter or even like one kind of rogue person. It is part of an organized gang that says, hey, our business is drug trafficking, our business is human trafficking, and one way we can go fund that easily is we can take people and run them into stores, grab all the stuff, and come out, and they know exactly what they're looking for, and that's what they go after.
We're taking your phone calls, 801-575-TALK. What are you willing to do? Because as we were talking to Troy Rawlings, the prosecutor in Davis County, he said, I wish people would do more. We have a lot of things we can do as prosecutors. None of that matters. We can, enhance crimes. We can really crack down on the organizers, but none of that can happen unless these people get detained, either by you and me, the customer, or by the store, so the police can investigate and arrest. But then it was like, well, okay, am I going to put myself in harm's way? And this is what Troy Rawlings said.
We wish they would do more, but it's a cost-benefit analysis for them. What can they afford? What's their insurance companies willing to pay out, and those sort of things. But, yeah, we wish that we saw a lot more aggressive measures by retailers. Personally, yes. Legally, you're probably putting yourself in a precarious situation, Dave, where people don't put themselves in harm's way and make a situation worse than it is. And so govern yourself accordingly. But we wish that there was more detention of people committing these offenses in a reasonable manner.
Is this something you would be willing to do? Would you want to see this from your retailers, where they crack down on shoplifters? 801-575-TALK. Let's go to Paul in Spanish Fork. Paul, what do you think?
I would be extremely careful. The thing is, people are dangerous. I mean, we don't know when a person could snap. We know there's mental health issues here. If we're talking to people who, are involved in organized crime, the odds that they could be dangerous, to me as an individual is quite high. And I don't think that's a risk I'm willing to take. Look, I understand that we don't like retail theft. I understand we like law and order to happen. But the risk to individuals over money's replaceable. Life is not replaceable. I would be extremely cautious.
It's a great point. I think that's really what we're struggling with, Paul. I totally agree with you. I'm really torn. I feel wronged. And if I were to see this happen, and it's only happened one time in my life. I was actually living in Spain at the time, where someone stole a bunch of DVDs. They come burning out of the store, and hot on his heels was the store owner saying, stop him. And sure enough, that's what I did. I ran him down. I grabbed the person, and I marched him back like he was a 4-year-old to return a stolen piece of candy. So I've done this. In retrospect, I'm like, that probably wasn't the smartest move, but it did. It bothered me that someone would just so brazenly steal in broad daylight.
Well, and I think there is something natural in us that says something's going wrong here and we need to step up and stop that. But I think, to the caller's point, you don't know exactly what you're dealing with. You're not actually all that trained in most cases to deal with it.
Of course.
And it's better to let law enforcement handle it. I was thinking about it from this perspective. We're a couple of middle-aged dads here. We've got kids who work in retail locations. Yeah. What would you tell, instead of just the amorphous, what would you do in this situation? Dave, what would you tell your son, your daughter to do in this situation? Because I would tell my daughter, let it go.
Right.
And if I'm working in one of those spots, I go, look, for minimum wage or a little above minimum wage, I'm not tackling a guy to go do it. So I totally understand why the policies are in place, but there's something at our core that I think feels wrong about it.
That's what bothers me more than anything. It feels it's so wrong. We understand that objectively it's wrong. To stand around and just watch it happen is not something I think as a society we should just swallow. I just think that empowers people to go further and push harder and be more dangerous. Whereas we know, you talk to cops, the studies have been done. The threat of punishment does not deter crime nearly as effectively as the threat of getting caught.
Yeah. Making it difficult for them to actually commit the crime, right? So we've seen this. I know we've talked with other security experts other days I've been here. There's a Utah company, LVT, that does the mobile surveillance units that you see in parking lots. You see them at construction sites, right? It's a little trailer with a mast on it. These cameras that will watch folks. And if you put those around a facility, that in and of itself is often enough to deter criminals from going in, because they say, look, I'm going to be on some pretty good video here.
Yes.
And it's more likely that I get caught. It's like water, right? It follows the path of least resistance. And so, if a store puts something like that, or has more cameras, or has a security presence around it, often that's enough to deter some of this, but not all of it. And when it does happen, it really does still just irk us right to the core.
Well, I have seen, and we see this in the big box stores, we prosecute shoplifting to the fullest extent of the law, and it does feel like lip service. It feels like a good, billboard that you can put up in the bathroom, where you actually see people cracking down, having kids that work in retail. They've seen firsthand the blatant shoplifting of loading a cart full of goods and just going right out the door with all the bells and the alarms going off, and many of them are trained to just sit there and do nothing by the company.
And how many times do you need to see a video where people are just running out without being stopped before it sets the tone in your head that, this is pretty easy to do. It does lower the bar. It doesn't mean everybody's going to start shoplifting, but people who are sort of in the gray area between this is right, this is wrong, are now more likely to do it. To that point, when we talked with the Davis County prosecutor last segment, you can do a lot of things to prosecute, but a TikTok watching people run out of a store has a greater messaging impact than a news headline about someone who finally got convicted, if that even makes the headlines down.
Exactly.
It sets the tone that this is okay, and that's, I think, in large part what we're fighting against.
And we just are letting it happen. And I think I'm not sure I want my kids changing it, but I definitely want your kids to do it. No, I get it. It's a very difficult conversation, but we have to continue to talk about it to figure out a better solution, because right now it's a disaster. When we come back, I'm so excited to talk about this. I spent the entire Jazz game last night preparing this story because I'm so excited about it. Is it finally time to give up the American dream of buying a home and just renting? I make that argument. See if you agree with me next.
It's 10:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour: Utahns waiting for frontrunner to expand north of Ogden might have to wait a little longer because 3 cities say they're done collecting sales tax to help with the project. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has the update.
Brigham City, Perry, and Willard have spent the last 15 years collecting a transit sales tax worth 0.25%. KSL.com reports that residents voted in a landslide to stop that, in part because Box Elder County is still collecting its own tax worth the same amount. This doesn't mean Frontrunner won't expand north, it's just becoming more complicated. UTA has been buying up private lands to make a future corridor, and they're a third of the way done.
And UTA is hoping you'll be able to take the Frontrunner to Brigham City by 2050. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A couple of hotel chains fighting over a merger that's gone sour. ABC's Sherry Preston explains.
After repeatedly trying to reach a merger deal, Choice Hotels is launching a hostile $8 billion takeover of properties belonging to Wyndham Hotels and Resorts, including Days Inn and Ramada. The CEO of Choice says they would have liked to have reached a mutually agreed upon transaction, but Wyndham walked away from the talks. Choice runs about 7,500 hotels, Wyndham more than 9,000 that also include Travelodge and Super 8.
And coming up, we'll be talking about strong east winds kicking in this afternoon. Also, we'll take a look at our markets just ahead. KSL News.
We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, and us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Remember that first paycheck when you started working all those years ago? You looked at the net amount and thought, whoa, what happened here? Ah, the joy of taxes. It could be this way with your retirement accounts. You know how much you've saved, but if you haven't planned for Uncle Sam, you could come up short in retirement. With tax laws constantly changing, there's a lot you need to know to make sure you're not paying more than your fair share. Mike Stevens and the team at Capital Wealth Advisors can help you create a plan that shows you how taxes could affect you now and in the future. Set up your tax strategy session with Mike Stevens and Capital Wealth Advisors now. Call 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. Make sure you know how these changes could affect you so you can avoid some of those whoa moments in retirement. Call 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
I'm Tamron Hall. Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, with more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties. Classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
The holiday season is right around the corner, so give the gift that's hard to wrap, but easy to give. Give them a STIHL. With powerful trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws to place under the tree, the STIHL Holiday Gift Guide has something for everyone. Save $30 on the BG56 CE handheld blower. Visit your local STIHL dealer or go to stihlusa.com/gift guide. Real STIHL. Find yours. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Hello, car donation hotline.
Hi, I'd like to donate a car to the Utah Kidney Foundation. Are you in Utah?
Awesome. Let's get some info and we'll send you a tow truck.
But I want my car donation to benefit my neighbor in Farmington who needs a transplant. Are you in Utah?
That's a no. I'm in SoCal, but you're still donating to charity.
What charity?
Does it matter?
Yes, I want my donation to stay in Utah.
Righteous dude. You need to call tow cars in Utah. Locals only, am I right?
Oh, yeah. I remember tow cars with a K like kidney. It's on a billboard somewhere. TOWKARS.org. That's it. Towcars.org.
If you'd like your vehicle donation to help Utah kidney patients in the Beehive State, please use the web address on their billboard, towcars.org, to donate your old car or truck. That's TOWK like kidney, ARS. Towcars.org.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Heather Kelly.
We are delay-free on the I-15 corridor through Utah, Salt Lake, Davis, and Weber counties. That's both northbound and southbound. We are picking up a few brake lights, though, on Legacy Parkway southbound, moving between Farmington and Centerville. There is a little bit of construction in that area, but nothing excessive right now. City streets are looking good, as well as I-80 through Parley's Canyon. It's the sale to look forward to. Foothill Rug Gallery's semi-annual sale with the biggest savings, up to 70% off gorgeous designs and styles. Foothill Rug Gallery, 1460 South Foothill Drive. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we'll see clouds and some East Canyon winds today. The winds pick up tonight along the northern Wasatch Front from Logan to Farmington. Then the sun comes out tomorrow and there's a chance for an inversion building up, trapping pollution in the valleys. right now, 36 degrees, mostly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Sorry, we can't help. We've got televisions on at all times in the studio, and we're watching three referees full-on brawl during a fourth grade basketball game. I have no context. I have no idea what's going on other than I'm watching three referees throwing punches, tackling each other at a fourth grade basketball game.
I know what we're talking about in the 1150 segment at this point.
Kayla, we got to chase down this. Three referees.
The one ref, when I don't want to get ahead of us, but when they start squaring off after they get through the little rumble here, the one guy is definitely dancing like a boxer.
Yeah.
I got my money on that guy.
There's zero chance if I'm squaring up against a guy that actually looks like he's done some training, I'm like, you win.
When the other guy starts floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee, I'm done.
Dude, this is in Colorado. This is like your hometown.
Where was this in Colorado?
I don't know.
Lakewood. That's not far from where None of that happened in
not in your
high school
fourth grade,
basketball
not
games.
in your fourth grade
I
basketball
went to fourth grade
game.
here, so I can't vouch for that. But yeah, high school, I didn't see any of that.
You didn't see any of the refs.
Different time.
Squaring up.
It was a different time.
Okay. Sorry. Holy cow. That is not what we're talking about. Maybe later in the show, though, because this looks amazing.
That's how you take care of organized retail crime there. You put those referees in the store.
How bad was that call? How bad was the call that it turned out to be? It's not your call. That's my call.
We're going to dig into it. It's going to be the national anthem. Somebody skipped a line and things got out of hand. It escalated.
The land of the what?
That escalated quickly. That really got out of hand.
All right. Here's the real segment. Sorry,
Let's see how you make a segue here, Dave.
There's zero segue. Should you rent or should you buy? That's the big question. Okay, so should you rent? Are you fine with renting in perpetuity, or should you still have the American dream of buying a home? You know what? I was going to play some audio, but I forgot to turn on. All right, it's a disaster so far. This segment is an absolute disaster. Can we try it again, Marty? Should you rent or should you buy? Okay, let's go back to the New York Times podcast. They asked this question: Is the dream of housing, is it over?
So if you're somebody thinking about buying a home right now, should you just pretty much give up on the idea and just accept that you're going to be a renter?
Yes. For most people, the answer is yes. You should give up on the idea. You shouldn't feel bad about it. Renting has this unfair stigma in this country.
It kind of does, doesn't it?
It does. But giving up on it now doesn't mean you're giving up on it forever.
Okay, Marty, how do you feel about the idea of just giving up the desire, the hope, the dream of buying a home and just saying, you know what, I'm going to rent?
It's really hard for someone, I think, our age to say, because you own a home.
Yeah.
Or at least the bank does, and you pay them for it every month,
In
which is kind of like
9
renting.
years,
in
I
a lot of
own
ways.
a home, yeah.
It feels a lot like renting. You're still making a monthly payment, except it's building up some equity for you. I think it's easier to process this, your question, when you think about your kids and their ability to own a home. And really, at this point, you'd say, in order for that to happen as things appear right now, that only happens with some help from mom and dad. And there's no other way around that. You have to essentially be the bank between the bank and your kids if you're going to help them with that. Now, whether or not that will still be the case 5 years from now, 10 years from now, hopefully not, because owning a home has been a way to build wealth, and that's the way generations have done it, dating back to your grandparents, Dave, maybe before that.
I look at it, and I'm going to make the argument why buying a house, at least right now in the current economics of the whole thing, it just doesn't work. And we're seeing it here in Utah specifically. So everything I'm going to talk about is using Utah as the average home. So the Kim C. Gardner has done some incredible research into this, home buying, what it costs, how it's grown. So just 3 years ago, in 2020, maybe 3.5, 4 years ago, the interest rate, the mortgage rate was 3%. 2.5%, 3%, and the average cost of a home was $336,000 a year. That's a mortgage payment of $1,400 a month. That was 3 years ago. $1,400 a month was your mortgage payment. Let's fast forward 3 or 4 years to 2023. The mortgage rate is now near 8%. The average home is $500,000, so it's gone up another $170,000. But the mortgage payment, the monthly mortgage payment is $3,600. So from $1,400 3 years ago to $3,600 for the average home.
While at the same time, it costs you more to buy food, to buy gas, to buy clothing. Everything has gone up in cost. And so it's not like you can just say, well, you got to find a way to make a cut here and there. Don't get your daily Starbucks hot chocolate.
Yeah.
And that'll save you $5. And that's how you get to that extra. I'm really bad at math here, Dave, but it's a fairly big jump, $1,400 to $3,600.
Yeah, it's 2.5
right?
times.
Yeah.
It's what it was.
More than doubled, right?
Yeah.
So you don't just make that up by sort of cutting corners.
No.
And
it's wholesale changes.
And of course, one of the bigger barriers there is you got to go down and you got to go put some money down on that.
Yes.
Right. And so getting to that threshold of here's my down payment on it gets to be prohibitive for most people. And I honestly don't know how most people would go about it at this point.
Well, the how this affects Utah, and again, Kim Seagardner has done the research on this. Looking at a home that is $300,000 to $400,000, and that obviously is a starter home. That is if you were to get a new townhome, maybe not even a new townhome, that's the $300,000 to $400,000. This is not a single family dwelling. If you can find a home right now, a single family dwelling unit for $300,000, let me know. I'll buy it up tomorrow.
Then you'll face a lot of competition to get that for sure.
Yeah,
which means the price is going to go up pretty quickly.
Exactly. There's just very, very little chance, unless this is like in the middle of Yuba Lake. You're not going to find it for $300,000.
It makes me wish that 10 years ago when I bought my current house 8 years ago.
Yeah.
That I would have bought 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
I just figured out a way to make it work, right?
So the big question, in the next segment, I'm gonna get into the case why buying is a bad decision. There's four specific reasons. See if you agree with me. But I want to just set up in the first place how much a home costs and how the interest rate affects it. And that's what we're talking about right now, where the mortgage rate went from 3% to 8%. Only 15% of Utah renters can purchase a home that is worth $300,000 to $400,000. Now, if you want to say, okay, well, how much money do I need to make? How much do I need to bring in for the family to afford a $300,000 to $400,000 house? It's $100,000 to $130,000 a year,
which is above what the median income is in a two-family household in Utah, I believe.
The average two-family household or two-income family household in Utah is $82,000, $83,000. So the average family they're not within $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 of buying a home. Now, if you go up to a home that costs $400,000 to $500,000, which is that's more likely, then you've got to make $130,000 or $160,000 a year. How many people are making that individually, and then how many people are making that as a two-household income? You can just see how unreasonable it is, how hard it is to get into that house.
The other tricky part is, let's say you decide to go rent. It's not like rent is so much cheaper than paying a mortgage payment.
Okay,
right?
I love that that's where your mind went, because say they are somewhat equal, whether it's the rent versus the mortgage payment. There are so many other things that we just dismiss because we are proud homeowners and home buyers. That's what we'll talk about next, is the 4 things that are just sucking the life out of you when you're buying a home.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Finally, Friday. Now you can hear Dave and Dujanovic 5 days a week.
Starting in January, Dave and Debbie will be on Fridays at 9.
Then the movie show from 11 to 1.
On KSL News Radio.
Okay, I want you to go along with me here. I want you to imagine A Ruth's Chris Steakhouse steak sitting on a plate in front of you, that 500-degree plate. It is sizzling hot. It is cooked to perfection. I always go for medium, and it comes out just right. And then I want you to imagine that first bite that awaits you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. There is nothing like it. That first bite is so incredible. And then all the side dishes and the desserts. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is the place this holiday season for you to take the family, take friends, take your company party. Make your reservations now because you're going to love the experience. And even though they're a steakhouse, they have other great entrees as well. 2 locations, Hotel Park City and right in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City. With all the great things going on, the place to dine is Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
For the last 27 years, we've been honored to serve our community as the highest rated home medical supplier in Utah. Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. Our commitment to exceptional customer service is at the heart of everything we do, and our team is always here to make sure you get the care and products you need. Whether it's oxygen solutions, CPAP supplies, or expert home safety advice, we do it all. As a Best in State winner for the last 14 years and highest rated on Google, Alpine Home Medical is not just a provider, we're a trusted partner in your healthcare journey. So swing by any of our 11 locations today and experience firsthand what makes Alpine Home Medical a 5-star experience. See us at alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Guys, does she need a little escape this year? Introducing Cozy Escape Pajamas from Pajamagram, America's PJ experts. These PJs are just the getaway she needs. So take that time off and plan a holiday staycation. Cozy Escape Pajamas make the perfect gift for your special someone who deserves a little rest and relaxation. Treat her to luxurious next-level Cozy signature soft fleece. They're as light as a dream and will keep her oh so warm, like snuggling in her favorite blanket. She'll love to cuddle in Cozy Escape PJs on those extra chilly nights. With Pajamagram, you can even add gift packaging. Order now for guaranteed delivery by Christmas. She's missed out on a lot of things she loves this year, so this Christmas, give her the escape she deserves. These new PJs are selling fast, so order today. Go to pajamagram.com right now. That's pajamagram.com to order Cozy Escape Pajamas. Pajamagram.com.
Completely immerse yourself in University of Utah sports with the free Utah 360 app. Behind-the-scenes exclusives, local KSL coverage, game stats, and more. Download for free in the App Store or Google Play Store.
Join KSL for a special Christmas movie show December 21st from 9 to noon at the Salt Lake NPS Store, 1600 Empire Road, npsstore.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, UTA has plans to expand the Front-Runner commuter rail line into Box Elder County, even though 3 cities there have decided they're not going to help pay for it. Second, Grand County rescue teams called in to help rescue a woman after a hiking accident in Arches National Park. And third, a merger deal between Wyndham and Choice hotel chains started out friendly, but now it's gone hostile. Right now, 36 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
David Dujanovic.
Okay, is it time to rent and just be fine with being a renter? Or should you buy? The point or the argument I'm trying to make is just rent. Just rent, because buying is so unachievable right now. That's how I feel. It feels unachievable.
I was thinking about it during the break, and we should list off, give a range. You don't have to get terribly specific with personal information here, but how much did your first house cost, and what was your payment?
$169,000, and I was about $1,400, I think, a month.
$114, I think, in Topeka, Kansas. So
$114.
And we went from an apartment where I think we were paying like $700 a month in rent to like $550, as I recall.
So your mortgage was
yes, we actually saved money by buying a house
in Topeka, but then you
that would have been
Topeka,
2003. But yeah, I mean, that's why I say it. You got to adjust. It was Topeka, Kansas. It wasn't here.
What did you sell it for?
We actually, so the TV station I was at shut down, and we had to leave like a year into a 3-year deal.
Oh, wow.
And so I had to sell it, I think 9 months later, and I sold it for exactly what I bought it for. So
Really?
I got out with basically some realtor fees.
Boy. Okay, so I wanted to make the case against buying because for so long, and I think there's a pressure, maybe there was a pressure from our parents of, you got to get into a home. Got to get into a home. Don't throw your money away. And that's the argument I hear so often when people say, I don't want to rent anymore. It's just throwing my money away. Because we just swallow all the money that we throw away when we're quote-unquote home buyers. Let me give you number one. A broker's fee. You get a realtor, 6% goes to the fees. Now, you could say, yeah, but the seller pays that. But they increase the price of the home so that they can pay the realtor fees, right? So the 6%.
If the market allows, yeah, they do that.
Yeah, which is largely, I think, kind of industry standard. So if you're looking at the average cost of a home in Utah, which is about $500,000, 6%, that's $30,000 in realtor fees. You're never getting that money back. That's gone. That's poof, gone. Okay, number two, when you take out the home mortgage with your bank or whoever ends up buying your loan, your bank for 5
will be
minutes.
one, and then it will be the other in succession.
Another somebody else. A $500,000 home. We say, we don't want to throw our money away in rent. Have you ever looked at an amortization schedule? It is
the most depressing document you'll ever look at.
It is the worst. It is criminal when you look at an amortization schedule, which is the bank or whoever holds your loan, they front load the first 10, 15, 20 years so heavily with interest payments. So in your very first year, again, let me build off that $500,000 home. Your first year, you're going to spend about $45,000 in mortgage payments. So it's about $3,500 a month. $40,000 of that 45 is going to interest. It's not going to principal. Only $4,000 of that goes into principal.
So essentially, using your rent versus buying dynamic here, $40,000 in the first year is rent.
Yeah,
$4,000 actually goes, but that is $4,000 that goes
to principal. Right. There you go.
You get that $4,000.
Do you know how long it takes to flop where you're paying more principal than interest? How many years? I bet a lot of people don't know this. Go pull up an amortization schedule. You'll love this. The one I just pulled up, 22 years. By year 22, you're paying about 60-40 principal to interest. Yeah, well, by year 30, you're paying exclusively principal. It's going all to that. But how many people carry a loan or hold on to a loan for 30 years? How long did you carry your first one? 9 months.
About that.
How about your second home?
4 years.
4 years.
So it would have gone 9 months, 4 yees, 8 years, and we're almost 8 years currently.
So
I've never made it past 8.
You never made it past 8. You're like, we gotta get out of this thing. So yeah, the interest on the mortgage is enormous. Okay. Now, number 3, the case against buying a home. Home repairs. How much have you put over the years into home repairs? Have you ever had to replace a roof?
Not a roof yet, knock on wood, but water heaters. We just did ovens, microwave. Garage doors are oddly expensive.
That's mine
garage
right
doors
now.
and doors and door openers, right?
Do we have a garage door company here? Do we advertise with? Do we do anything with garage doors here?
Do you need to pull your punch? Is that what you're asking?
I need somebody to help me out with the garage door situation. Yeah. Obviously. Oh, we just talked to Tim Hughes this morning, and he said he just spent $18,000 on a new roof. Again, that money's not. Where's that going? And on top of a mortgage that you're probably already stretched for, how do you come up with $18,000 to pay for a roof? Or do you have to finance that out as well? So we've got the broker's fee. We've got the interest on the mortgage. Your amortization schedule is just brutal, especially in those first 10 or 15 years. Home repairs. The New York Times has a rent versus buy calculator, and they figure as far as home repairs go, you should plan on 1% of the value of your home for home repairs, which would be about $5,000 annually. Now, maybe you think, oh, that's kind of high. Well, if you have, a furnace go out when you're air conditioning or a roof, garage door, all of a sudden $5,000 annually sounds a little bit more realistic.
Feels like a bargain at some point if your roof goes.
No, quite honestly, right? I mean, okay, so number 4, the reason you should rent versus buying. None of these things you have to do if you're a renter. You don't have to worry about that 6% realtor fee. You don't have a mortgage payment that you're throwing at. Home repairs, that does not fall on you. That falls on the landlord. So for renters, another thing that you don't have to do when you move in is come up with 20% to get into the house. That's typically what a down payment is. Now, I don't know how many people actually come up with a full 20%. There's other programs out there that allow you to get in for less, but largely kind of the big round
That's
number.
to avoid your PMI.
So PMI, personal mortgage insurance?
I think that's what it is.
Private mortgage? I don't know, whatever it is. It basically, if you cannot put down enough
painful
money.
Mortgage insurance.
It is painful mortgage insurance. That money is gone too. That's just poof, up in smoke. But on a $500,000 home, 20% down is $100,000, which means you have to come up with $100,000 to avoid that PMI. And if you took that,
or it clicks away once you get to that point. You don't have to have it all up front, but at some point,
yeah. So the argument would be if you had $100,000 and you were to put that money into the market and make some money off of that, then you would be far better off as far as an investment versus buying a house. That money is just kind of evaporates immediately. So you've got broker's fee, interest on the loan, home repairs, and down payments.
So here's the pushback. Okay. The one thing that
good because you got 30
there's
seconds.
Tons of barrier to entry there. Here's the pushback. You buy an asset, and it's one of the few assets you buy that most people buy that generally appreciates in value. How many people in this state right now can say, I bought my house 8 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, heaven forbid, like 20 years ago, and now it's worth twice that, 2.5 times that, some cases maybe 3 times that. Now,
but
when you
only
go to
when you sell.
But only when you sell. It's funny money until then, but yeah, it appreciates, and so there's the pushback I'd give you.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. The latest government report shows inflation is slowing. Zions Bank senior economist Robert Spendlove tells David Dujanovic the Fed wants the inflation rate at 2%, and it's not there yet.
So goods prices are slowing or coming down, but it's the service sector that still sees inflation even higher. And then housing inflation has started to tick up again a little bit too. So that's the problem.
Spendlove says people are still feeling the pain of grocery store prices that haven't returned to what they were before inflation shot up in 2021. The Fed will announce tomorrow if they'll adjust interest rates. A hiker's recovering after she was injured on the Devil's Garden Primitive Trail in Arches National Park. Grand County emergency responders say this happened Sunday afternoon. A woman was climbing down a sandstone feature and the rocks gave way. Rescuers say a mix of ice and snow in the area made reaching that hiker more difficult. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A new study finds pot and pregnancy are a bad mix. ABC's Dave Packer reports.
Using cannabis during pregnancy can lead to more complications. Research published in the Journal of the American Medical Association showing that marijuana use during pregnancy can lead to problems like small babies and stillbirths. Nearly 26% of people who use cannabis have complications, compared to just over 17% who don't.
And your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day, 97 points right now. The NASDAQ also up about 26 points. And our KSL weather, we're looking for some canyon winds this evening. We'll have that next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
Early mornings can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
The holidays can be financially challenging with gift buying, travel costs, not to mention those unexpected expenses to make the season feel extra special. But there is a way to buy everything on your holiday wish list this year. Michelle Casper from Jackson Hewitt explains.
Every dollar matters, especially at the holidays. To help, we've launched our Early Refund Advance Loan Program, giving people the chance to qualify for an advance on their federal tax refund up to $1,000.
The Early Refund Advance is a convenient way to access money you can use for the holiday season. If you qualify, you could get up to $1,000.
We know that if people have extra money, they could afford gifts for their friends and family and celebrate a stress-free holiday season, as well as help get caught up on end-of-year bills.
The Early Refund Advance runs through January 14th. To learn more, visit jacksonhewitt.com or a local Jackson Hewitt office to apply.
Introducing Yes, Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. We're bringing all of Utah's favorite HVAC, plumbing, and electrical brands under one roof. Maximize your energy savings with a new energy-efficient heating and cooling system from Yes, and you could save up to $4,500 through possible tax credits and other discounts. Purchase a new system today, and Yes will buy back your old inefficient HVAC system. Visit theyesmancan.com to schedule your appointment. Call now or visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions.
Guys, your promise is your word, right? You stick by it, you live by it. So does Revive Men's Health with our Revive Promise for low T and ED. The Revive Promise means your tests and lab work are free when you begin treatment, and our low T and ED treatments are money back guaranteed. Yes, that's right. We stand behind our treatments and our results. That's our promise to you. Revive Men's Health has successfully helped thousands of men with low T, ED, and sexual health issues since 2011. If you're experiencing symptoms like chronic low energy, less drive, sleep issues, weight gain, poor performance, bad moods, or ED, you need Revive. Don't settle. Get affordable, guaranteed custom low T and ED solutions with lasting results from Salt Lake City's favorite men's clinic. And remember, there are no extra bills when you begin treatment. All labs and tests are free, and your low T and ED treatments are money-back guaranteed. Call Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City today to schedule your appointment. Call 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Looks like we had an accident northbound I-15 near 31st Street in Ogden. It was out of traffic on the shoulder. I'm not seeing it, so it looks like it's been cleared. It is a delay-free drive on all the Valley freeways, but we do have an accident called out at 300 North, just to the side of 700 West. The Zero Res holiday sale is on now. Just $25 per room for carpet cleaning. Schedule Monday or Tuesday and clean before the new year. Schedule today online at zerores.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather will see clouds and some East Canyon winds today. The winds pick up tonight along the northern Wasatch Front from Logan to Farmington. Then the sun comes out tomorrow and there's a chance for an inversion building up, trapping pollution in the valleys. Right now, 37 degrees, mostly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
All right, there was the big three. The big three that testified before Congress. It was the presidents of MIT, of Penn, and Harvard. Three of the most prestigious schools in the world. They were called before Congress to talk about protests that were being held on their campus and whether or not these protests had crossed the line in the policies that were established by each school. The three names are Sally Kornbluth, who's over MIT, Liz Miguel is Penn, and then Claudine Gay.
Was Penn.
That's the important little twist on it. So Liz Miguel, Penn, I'm going to play a little bit from this testimony and to really see where they got in trouble, where the hot water came from.
Let me to go off the rails.
And the question had been going on for a little bit. They had a break, and then they came back. It seemed like everything was going fine until New York Representative Elise Stefanik asked the question about, okay, well, some of the chants can be construed or taken as we just want to get rid of Israel altogether. So one of the chants is from the river to the sea, the River Jordan to the Mediterranean Sea, that we want it back from the river to the sea, okay, which would essentially say you'd extinguish the state of Israel. So the question from Elise Stefanik was, okay, well, what do you make of this? And this was to Liz McGill, Penn's president, and she ended up losing her job over it. But listen to her response, and then I'm going to play some of the responses of the other presidents and how similar they are.
Ms. McGill, at Penn, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment, yes.
I am asking, specifically calling for the genocide of Jews, does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Jews is depending upon the context. That is not bullying or harassment. This is the easiest question to answer yes, Ms. McGill.
It's one of those things, Marty, as I was listening to it, I've thrown up some softball questions before, like just a real easy one to knock out of the park. This, quite honestly, is a very easy question to knock out of the park. Is the call for genocide of the Jews wrong?
If there's any way you can answer that question, yes. It seems strategically in that moment, if you're sitting in the chair, the answer is yes. I mean, the answer should be yes anyway, but even if you're just like, I don't know, there's some ambiguity. It depends. Even if what was the term she used? It's contextually dependent.
Yeah. It depends on the context. If the speech turns into conduct, that was the line she got to. If the speech turns into conduct, like the call for the genocide of the Jews is fine unless they actually act on it and commit the genocide of Jews.
Right. And again, I think an important distinction here is she's not asking, like, is this protected speech under the First Amendment and can government not retaliate against you? She's saying, at your university, is this in violation of the student code of conduct? Is this the type of behavior you want from students who are admitted to your prestigious university? And that's a different argument than just saying, hey, can you make that statement? Could you call for the genocide of the Jews in public out on 3rd West and not have the government arrest you? Yes, unless you go now start attacking someone, right? Okay, that's a different standard. What she's asking is specifically within the context of code of conduct at your university, is this who you let in? And let's stay there.
And specifically asked, does this violate the policies of bullying and harassment? Now, if you narrow it down even further and say, does that kind of rhetoric count as bullying and harassment, then it makes it even more clear to me that, we're narrowing the conversation even more. So is it protected? Well, it could absolutely be bullying and harassment. It seems fairly easy that would be the case.
But to your point, it's a congresswoman asking a question. You aren't trying to actually litigate a case in this situation. So, like, you would think if you're the president of the university, you say, okay, the obvious answer here is yes. And now because I'm in a survive and advance mode, right? Like, okay, got past that question.
Yeah,
what else you got?
Marty, you said the very easy thing is you can say absolutely. I mean, that I think logically we can all agree that is bullying. That's
Yeah.
harassment.
Look-
Now, is it protected by free speech? Is that something we need to balance?
Yeah.
As a president of the university, absolutely, and that's what we need to figure out.
I've been a political spokesman, Dave,
Yes.
so I understand how
Yeah.
these traps get laid a little bit. And
Yeah.
you answer that question and say yes, because there is a way I can answer it yes. Now, if you want to dig in on a specific case and how do we handle this, now I can get into the details of maybe how that one was slightly different than the question you asked previously. But yeah, just in a straight up question and answer, as someone who's answered questions for a living before,
Yes.
yeah, the answer to that is pretty much yes,
Yes.
because if there's any way you can say yes,
Yeah.
you say yes, and then you survive in advance.
Okay, so I won't play all three of these sound bites, but let me jump because we're going to talk about the next person. And so Liz McGill, after that kind of equivocating answer of like, I mean, it kind of depends contextually whether or not the genocide of the Jews is fine. And
as she's looking for a new job, do you think her LinkedIn status at the top, just like her profile says, Liz seeking position in higher education, definitely believes that it's wrong to say this.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what. Well, she did. She made a post later on that said that exact same thing. Little too late. She lost her job. She had to resign. So what happens to MIT and Harvard? They basically said the exact same thing. Well, we have an update on Claudine Gay, who's the president of Harvard, and this is what she said when Elise Stefanik asked the exact same question and in the exact same way.
And Dr. Gay, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment, yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
What's the context?
Targeted at an individual.
It's targeted at Jewish students, Jewish individuals. Do you understand your testimony is dehumanizing them? Do you understand that dehumanization is part of anti-Semitism? I will ask you one more time. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment, yes or no?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric.
And is it anti-Semitic rhetoric?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric, when it crosses into conduct that amounts to bullying, harassment, intimidation, that is actionable conduct, and we do take action.
So the answer is yes, that calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct?
Again, it depends on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes, and this is why you should resign. These are unacceptable answers across the board.
Marty, as a communications specialist, are you just going to erase depends on the context from your vocabulary?
Again, just say yes, because the person before you tried the same answer and it didn't work. You knew what was coming. Just say the right answer, right? Like even if you're just saying, look, this is a little bit of political theater and they're taking me to the woodshed here and I've just got to, like I say, survive in advance. If you can answer yes, say yes. And then move on.
But they couldn't. But I think that's the important part.
Yeah.
Is they couldn't bring themselves to say yes.
Yeah, and I think
that's the concerning part. I think, and why you have alumni, you have donors, you have people that are calling for their jobs. Now, here's the update. If you're wondering, Liz McGill, Penn president, obviously lost her job. Here's the update. Dr. Claudine Gay will maintain her position as the head of Harvard. She received a lot of support. I don't know, quote unquote support. 700 letters at the same time supporting her. It will be interesting to see if that lasts. But right now, it's been voted that she will maintain her position as president of Harvard.
Market forces speak, and in the case of Penn, big donors, some here in Utah, the Huntsman family, said no more. And that's enough to move the market, and you can find another president.
And they weren't alone. There was another, I'm trying to remember the hedge fund manager that talked about removing $100 million in donations.
And to their credit, the Huntsmans were the first out there on it, right? They took the stance, and I think that's worth applauding.
So far, Harvard president keeps her job. Penn president resigned. We haven't heard from MIT, but all three of them had almost identical verbatim answers. We will keep a track of what's going on and how much longer they keep their jobs. maybe forever. Maybe it's just through the weekend. We'll see. When we come back, we were having the conversation, obviously, about renting versus buying. All right, I made renting sound like it was the world's most amazing thing in the world as opposed to buying a home. Let's bring in the KSL legal analyst, Greg Skordas, and we'll discuss, okay, these are the things you need to understand, be aware of when you are renting.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We know Utah relies on KSL for balance and fair treatment.
We provide news and analysis from all sides.
Utah's Morning News from 5 to 9.
Dave and Debbie, 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
It is the beginning of a season that should rekindle hope.
Casualties in this war, hard to comprehend.
Homelessness in Utah has been steadily increasing.
News is more than information. Spend your day with people who do more than report, who enjoy and celebrate Utah.
Did I just almost call her Dr. Jennifer Aniston?
I love stories like that.
The neighborhood school that looked like a spaceship.
They're not beautiful structures.
We promise to remember what's really important. You. A holiday promise from KSL News Radio.
We've been talking so much about homes and housing here on the Dave and Dujanovic Show. One of the things I've experienced is where I need some work done at the house. I don't want to do it myself. I have somebody come out. They give me a bid. I cannot tell you how many times that bid just seems to be a guess, because when the invoice actually comes in, I'm like, that has nothing to do with the bid. That's nowhere in the ballpark of the bid. What happened? And then they sing and dance and tap dance around. Oh, we had to do. It was a bigger job than we thought. Well, at Master Electrical, they do what's called the upfront pricing guarantee, where they come out, they give you a bid, and they will not overcharge you. The bid is what it will cost. Again, it's called upfront pricing guarantee, and they do everything, whether it's something small like installing a ceiling fan, or if you want to go and add some additional light into your home. My house apparently was built with no lighting whatsoever. We have lamps all over the place. But Master Electrical can take care of all of that stuff. They're always open. Emergency services are available. They serve from Logan to Santaquin. All you have to do is give them a call. 801-543-2222. That's 801-543-2222. Or you can check them out online, masterelectrical.com.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same. But at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high-commission investment products, right?
No. Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
If you're starting to think ahead to the new year and think, doggone it, this is going to be the year I do it. This is the year that I bring my A1C down and take care of my diabetes. This is the year that I lose the weight and I can go on the walk when my family goes on the walk or go to some event. I don't want to be left behind anymore. Then let us refer you to SOTA Weight Loss. SOTA stands for State of the Art. I lost 34 pounds on the SOTA Weight Loss program. My life changed totally. Mm-hmm. And that happened within 3 months, and that was 2 years ago.
Look, we're both at a stage of our lives where we're wondering how long our abilities are going to last.
Yeah.
And will we have the energy and the physical wherewithal to go do the things we have planned in retirement years? And this is a great way to get you there. Here's the other thing. If you set 2024 as the goal, you don't have to start right now, but it is a good day to reach out to SOTA Weight Loss and find out how they can help you. They helped my daughter lose 42 pounds. Go to SOTAWeightLoss.com. It's spelled S-O-T-A. Think Tim and Amanda. It is state of the art.
Give the best gift a Jazz fan can get. Tickets to a Jazz game. Or treat yourself with our holiday ticket packs. Getting a pack not only gets you to a game. With every ticket purchase, you can get $15 in Jazz notes for in-arena concessions on merch at the team store. Plus, each ticket comes with a ticket to a Salt Lake City Stars game. Get your tickets now by calling or texting 801-355-DUNK or by visiting UtahJazz.com. Happy holidays from the Utah Jazz.
Peterson Art Center. Give the gift of creativity with a gift certificate good for any art or pottery class. It's the perfect gift for spouses, kids, friends, and seniors. The Peterson Art Center in Sugar House.
This week's movie show broadcasts live from Hale Center Theater. Give the gift of memories all year long with 2024 season tickets, and you can get gift cards. Go to hct.org.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, inflation numbers have been slowing thanks mainly to lower costs for energy, but that may not be enough to satisfy the Federal Reserve. Second, a FedEx delivery driver spotted a house fire in Box Elder County. Firefighters kept the home from being a complete loss. And third, turns out smoking pot during pregnancy can lead to some serious problems for the baby. Right now, 37 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hey, thanks for joining us. No Debbie Dujanovic today. She's off, which is totally fine because I got Marty Carpenter, KSL at Night host, is joining me. Marty, thank you so much for doing this. We got 40 minutes left, so I don't know. I know you mostly drink water, but if you need
I think
a
I
little
just finished my Propel. Sorry. So
does that have any caffeine in it?
No caffeine.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
No sugar,
you're in trouble.
no caffeine, no calories.
No taste, no flavor, no enjoyment, no happiness.
That's why I'm here, because I've got this Gatorade Propel sponsorship. So I just show up and mention that I drink that, and there we go.
It's all right. I'm sponsored by Diet Coke. Unofficially, obviously.
It's a good deal.
I wish I had that endorsement. All right. Okay. Earlier in the show, I made a case that renting is way better than buying.
And then I just dismantled it right before we went to break, right?
You
Isn't that
did
how that
dismantle
went
it pretty good. It was. I get it. I understand. But, some of the things you have to take into account, whether you're going to buy a home or you're going to just continue to rent, is think of all the ways that you, quote unquote, throw away money. Because that's the argument against renting is, you're just throwing your money away. Well, think of the ways you're throwing away money when you buy a home, a broker's fee, the interest on your home. The first several years, it's just you're paying almost exclusively interest. Home repairs and improvements, those can be very expensive. That huge down payment you have to come up with. So since we all love, except you, since I made a very compelling argument why you should give up the dream of owning a home and just suck it up and pay your rent. All right, what should you know? What are some things that you should know about renting? So KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas, we wanted to reach out to you and help lay it out for us. What are some things that you would recommend people be very, very aware of, be careful of when they are renting? Again, renting is not all roses and rainbows. So what are some things that you would recommend that legally we're protected and need to be aware of?
So for the last about 40 years, Dave, I've served as a small claims court judge around Utah's courts, and it's very often that I will deal with landlord-tenant disputes. So I feel like I've seen a lot of these and tried to work people through them. One of the things I see the most is that people will have, for example, 2 or 3 friends, and they'll get together and decide to rent an apartment. Sometimes it's even a boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband, wife. What people don't realize or seem to realize is that if the relationship breaks up or one of your roommates moves out, the landlord doesn't care. The landlord still is expecting the entire rent, and people come to court and say, look, I'm paying 25% of the rent because I was one of 4 roommates. The landlord doesn't care. And so if you're going to enter into a lease or a rental agreement with roommates, make sure you vet them a little bit and make sure that you're comfortable that they're going to stand up to the plate, that they're going to be responsible, because ultimately it's what we call joint and several responsibility. In other words, you're all responsible for all of it, and you're each responsible for your 25% share. So the landlord's going to get his rent no matter what. Another thing.
So, Greg,
let
me just follow up on that just a little bit. So, should we be signing some sort of contract with our roommates? Kind of, is it a pinky promise, or what more can we do? Or do we need to have a lawyer actually draw up something binding everybody to their 25%?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't complicate it. That makes sense. I mean, that would be the ideal thing to do, but people don't really want to take the time and do that. So usually it's implied if 4 people sign a lease that they're each paying, 25% of it, and one bails out, the others can go after that person and ultimately collect their money. And it's not uncommon that they would do that. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily sign a commitment between the 2 or 3 or 4 co-tenants saying, hey, we're all in this together, although that would be the ideal thing to do. Nobody does that, but the law covers you anyway, typically, if that happens.
So we're speaking to Greg Skordas, and I love the experience you've had as a small claims court judge. And how long you've done this for a long time? You've seen a lot of this, so you are a little bit of a de facto expert on the complaints that you see and some of the protections you should have before entering into a rental or lease agreement. You just gave us a great little tip of just making sure that everybody is very aware that the landlord doesn't much care how you guys divide up the rent payment. He just wants to be paid in full by the end of the month or at the start of the month. So what's tip number 2 do you like?
Tip number 2 is that when you're done with the lease, we all expect, and landlords expect, that the tenants are going to pay what's called a security deposit, and it's usually about the equivalent of a month's rent. Then people leave. They don't always leave on the best terms with the landlord, and so there's a dispute about whether or not a person's going to get their security deposit back. And the security deposit is to ensure that the tenant leaves the place in relatively good condition. And I've seen so many of these lawsuits, and I still serve as a small claims court judge, where people dispute that. And I would just say this, that I was renting an apartment and I had finished my lease and I was moving out, and I thought I'd done a good job of cleaning it up. Take pictures, justify, document everything you've done. Make sure that you take pictures of the sink and the appliance thing to show that when you left, they were in real good shape, because sometimes we'll get to court and we'll just have these landlord pictures and they just look awful. And the tenant will say, wait a minute, that's not how I left it at all.
And
document it.
And before and after photos, if you were to take those same pictures, before you moved in and then you had something to compare to, I would imagine that would go a long way in your brain.
Absolutely. And it's really important. I mean, pets are a huge problem because a lot of landlords say no pets, and then a lot of tenants have their pets anyway.
Yep.
Then you're really in trouble with your, when you go to get your security deposit and there's, stains from your cat or dog on the carpet, and the landlord goes, wait a minute, you weren't even supposed to have a pet in the first place, and now I'm keep cleaning up these odors and stains. You're really going to get yourself in a jam that way. So if you work with your landlord and the landlord will work with the tenants, these things can work out really well. And I do agree with you a little bit, Dave, that with the climate we're in right now, with the housing prices being up so high and interest rates being as high as they are, that a lot of times leasing, it makes more sense than buying for some young couples right now, because they just don't have the ability to purchase it.
Yeah,
Mortgages may go down in the future. Housing prices may stabilize. Maybe there'll be a better time, but it does make sense. And I'm not giving legal advice here, but it does make sense to really consider leasing, even if you've got some ability to purchase a house.
Just because it's not now doesn't mean it's not ever. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. Yeah, some other things to be aware of is a late fee, how much you'll pay if you miss a rent deadline. Make sure you understand that. You mentioned the security deposit. Greg Skordas, thank you so much for joining us. I had forgotten that you're a small claims court guy, a small claims court judge. What a bunch of with 40 years of expertise, having seen probably just about every disagreement between landlord and tenant. Thank you for your expertise. When we come back, we'll return to the conversation about retail violence in burglary and shoplifting, and how it's all coming together, and well, how is that affecting businesses, and what are they going to do to combat it? Next.
It's 11:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomis. KSL's top local story this hour. Authorities in Box Elder County credit a Federal Express driver for reporting a house fire when he was out on his route. First responders were able to keep the house from becoming a complete loss. Homeowner Jackie Hogue tells KSL TV some of her most important things were saved.
In 2008, I lost my 16-year-old daughter to a distracted driver. All I have are pictures. Her pillows and a couple blankets. They're gone. But I was able to get a few pictures out.
There's a GoFundMe on KSL TV's website to help the Hogues rebuild. Many Americans are dying in car crashes after a steady decline over several decades. The communications manager with the Utah Highway Safety Office, Jason Metman, says anything that causes a distraction can be dangerous, including some things that are meant to be safety features.
If automakers have designed that to be a feature in their vehicles, I would urge drivers to consider whether or not they personally are distracted from the task of driving when they're using that feature and that technology.
He says more distractions are available as technology advances. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Smile Direct Club has announced that it's shutting down. Some customers aren't smiling. ABC's Mike Dubusky has details.
Customers are being told to consult with their dentists because Smile Direct Club will no longer be sending them aligners in the mail. The teeth straightening program from Smile Direct Club takes between 4 and 6 months and can cost about $2,000. The company says it's holding customers to their monthly payments and that information about refunds will come as the bankruptcy proceeds.
Your money at this moment. The Dow Jones average up on the day, 116 points now. The NASDAQ is up 41. Look for some canyon winds this afternoon and evening. We'll have that next. KSL News Time, 11:35.
Start your days with knowledgeable, friendly voices telling you about the latest news and weather out there.
Hi, this is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
In the business of waking you up each morning from 5 to 9.
On KSL News Radio.
Last year, other dealers were charging up to $10,000 over MSRP, but those cars haven't held their value. I'm Josh Osborne with Volkswagen Southtown. If you owe more on your car than it's worth, exchange it.
Is your car payment too much? Exchange it. Is your interest rate too high? Exchange it. Want a better price? You guessed it. Exchange your vehicle at Volkswagen Southtown today. We've got rates as low as 2.99 APR, low leases, and thousands off MSRP.
Come and see us or visit us at VWSouthtown.com.
Financing through VCI on approved credit.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Dear Santa, thank you so much for remembering me this year. Christmas was the best. Thank you for the shoes, and I love the coat you brought. It's so cute and so warm.
At KSL, it's our hope that every child will have a warm and joyful holiday season. Please donate generously to KSL's Quarters for Christmas.
Every dollar raised goes to buy shoes and warm clothes for Utah children in need. Give what you can at KSLQuarters.com.
Traffic and weather together are brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Hearing scanners calling out a possible vehicle fire near eastbound I-80 about 4700 East. That's going to be in Parley's Canyon. This is just coming down. We'll try to get a little bit more information. We also have a crash in Ogden. This is at Wall Avenue and 30th Street. It has been affecting both southbound and eastbound lanes of travel. And the final cleanup of an earlier crash at 300 North, about 750 West. The perfect present doesn't always come wrapped under the tree. Treat your loved ones with an unforgettable afternoon or evening of music and laughter with the Utah Symphony. Find your tickets at utahsymphony.org/holiday. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we'll see clouds and some East Canyon winds today. And the winds pick up tonight along the northern Wasatch Front from Logan to Farmington. The sun comes out tomorrow. There's a chance for an inversion building up, trapping pollution in the valleys. Right now, 37 degrees, mostly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
All right, just 30 minutes left of the show, but I've loved having this conversation because it's a passion of mine. I love talking about
retail crime.
Retail crime. In part because all my kids work in retail, and they have for a number of years. And they tell me stories all the time about the shoplifting that goes in and how they're trained and how to deal with it. And it's so frustrating to me, Marty. By the way, no Debbie today. Marty Carpenter is filling in for Deb, but I'm so frustrated because it's so unfair. It's so wrong. Ultimately, we pay the prices, the law-abiding consumer, because companies are losing, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in retail crime and theft. And now you're seeing it get escalated, where it's not just the odd person that comes in, steals some stuff, and walks out. It is becoming more organized. They're coming in groups. They're coming in hooded and masked, and it's efficient. It's obviously organized crime, and we're just not quite sure how to handle it.
Well, and so far we've talked about it today a lot with our focus on like the violent nature of it and
Yes.
the shock and awe of people coming in and stealing stuff. But I think the part we haven't focused on as much so far is what this does to costs, because when someone comes and takes something for nothing, they're not paying for it. So either you are, or the company, or the insurance company. And as we all know, it always rolls down to the consumer. So let's talk about it from an economic aspect. Let's talk about it from sort of a national national impact. Sorry about that. Want to bring in a national expert on this. Tom Wickham is the senior vice president at the United States Chamber of Commerce. We're one of the states, the nation's 50 states. We'll get it sorted out here, Tom. Tom, thanks so much for joining us. I wonder if you'll just give us some insight on, as you look across the country, just how big of a problem is organized retail crime nationwide, and how does it impact us economically?
Oh, hi, Dave. Hi, Marty. Thanks so much for having me on. It's something that's become a real widespread problem throughout the United States. Communities and businesses, both large and small, are facing significant increases in just the type of crime you've been talking about. Organized efforts hit their stores. In the case of small businesses, our surveys indicate that over 50% of small businesses reported theft, and 53% of them saying that small business, that theft is getting worse. It's something that's also been affecting our largest members. Corporate earnings statements have found that organized retail theft is being mentioned twice as much as last year in these earnings statements of the largest companies. So it is really widespread. And then, yes, there is an economic cost. 25% of small businesses report raising prices as a result of shoplifting and retail theft. The other phenomenon is after those prices get raised to a point where no one will come and shop there anymore, we're seeing businesses close because of retail theft. And our saying at the U.S. Chamber is no business should have to close because of theft. And these aren't victimless crimes. It's not just a numbers game. As you were indicating, there's a real increase in violence, something that is affecting the communities, affecting the workforces, and something that our policymakers really need to get a handle on.
So what kind of strategies are you recommending are most effective for retailers to prevent or even mitigate the impact of this organized retail crime?
One of the things we stress is coordination, that there is a sophistication, as you mentioned, that these retail gangs are hitting these stores when they know there's weaknesses. They're hitting them for items where there's great demand, and then they know the laws. So we have counseled businesses to coordinate, some of them forming organized retail crime associations, or ORCAs, where they work with law enforcement, with prosecutors, with other businesses to try to share information and coordinate their resources, because these gangs are not just hitting one store, they're hitting each and every store, oftentimes taking advantage of jurisdictional lines, jumping from one county to another and stealing just below the felony threshold. So what we're doing is working also with policymakers to try to change the laws to allow for aggregation of offenses. If you're a repeat criminal carrying out multiple thefts over a period of time, prosecutors should be allowed to aggregate those offenses and go for the strictest penalty under the law. Not all the states have that, but we're working hard to change the laws in the states to get first the businesses and police and prosecutors organized and coordinated, and then second, to try to change those laws to ensure that those offenses can be aggregated and those criminals can be punished.
What are the future challenges, Tom, that you see? Like, what's on the horizon? Is this only going to get worse, or some of the steps we're taking going to put us in a better position? Where do we see organized retail crime in relation to its impact on the economy, 2 to 5 years down the road?
Well, we have been raising awareness, and as I said, our largest companies have been making it front page news. And so we've been getting attention of policymakers. We've had red states and blue states change their laws. We've seen a national law change, the Inform Act, to try to reduce the demand for these goods by providing for greater disclosure in online marketplaces so that these thieves cannot quickly resell their wares. We're hoping that raised awareness, along with these solutions being practiced both by policymakers and then our individual chambers of commerce, are getting creative in how to strike back, how to organize their businesses to try to lower those numbers rather than increase those numbers. It's not just a national story. I just heard from Utah, the Attorney General's office, that it's a $1 billion loss in your state alone.
Oh, wow. What I had no idea it was that much here in Utah. Thank you for bringing it home. Tom Wickham, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, thank you for your time, your expertise, as we have this discussion of not only the amount of goods and merchandise that is being stolen, as you just heard. That's a $1 billion business here in Utah in loss. But we're starting to see an increase in violent behavior as well. High-profile violent altercations in retail stores. A security guard was killed. A Kroger worker was injured. A couple of guards. So if you're saying, oh, well, those are just employees, if we had guards, in security personnel, well, 2 guards were stabbed at a Philadelphia Macy's. killed one of them, critically injured another. It's escalating. It's becoming more organized. It's becoming more dangerous. And those were some of the solutions in awareness. It feels a little, it's the first step. Awareness is the first step, of course, but it certainly sounds like there's much more work to be done. Thank you for joining us. When we come back, there was that big fight. It was a very strange sight. Marty and I saw this on national television, a news show. We saw 3 referees in the middle of a 4th grade basketball game, wrestling, throwing punches. We'll give you the latest.
Dave and Dujanovic. We're expanding Dave and Dujanovic on KSL.
Now they'll be live on Fridays.
Starting in January, hear Dave and Debbie at 9 and the movie show at 11.
Finally, Friday on KSL News Radio.
Jeff Kaplan here for my good friends at Advanced Window Products. Jake Weber and Nate Orchard are spreading the holiday cheer with their biggest sale of the year. If the wind whistles through your windows, if you want a fresh new look for your number one investment, your home, call Advanced Window Products and take advantage of this incredible end-of-year sale. Replace all of your windows and frames, and you get $2,500 off. But that's not all. You get a free premium glass upgrade. Insulate your home against the cold with double-pane windows and stylish frames, any style, any color, and they're built custom right here at their headquarters in Salt Lake City for 37 years. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. Plus, an additional $2,500 off and a free premium glass upgrade. You can save now, pay later, so take advantage. Call now, Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100, 801-850-9100, or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Merry Christmas, honey.
A Bernina embroidery machine? It's wonderful.
Bernina products are wonderful Christmas gifts that you'll love and use. Take advantage of these holiday specials at Dave's Bernina in St. George and Provo.
Save thousands of dollars on world-famous Bernina sewing machines, such as the B700E for $2,999, the B500E $1,999, and get a free $2,000 embroidery module when you purchase the 770 Kate machine.
48 months, no interest on certain machines.
Purchase the L890 Serger and receive a free Bernina Studio cabinet, a $3,250 value. How about $2,400 worth of free gifts when you buy a Bernina B790 Pro model?
25% off all Bernina luggage, embroidery hoops, and presser feet.
Amazing bargains on previously owned and demo machines with warranties at Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Discovery Gateway Children's Museum's mission is to inspire children of all ages and abilities to imagine, discover, and connect with their world to make a difference. Executive Director and CEO Kathleen Boldenos shares more.
Discovery Gateway Children's Museum's mission is served by offering over 60,000 square feet of interactive workshops, programs, exhibits, and community outreach activities that invite the whole family to create, learn, and play together, such as the I Dig Dinosaurs, an interactive exhibit where children can dig for dinosaur bones and process them in our lab. There are even real dinosaur fossils in the exhibit. Through on-site interaction with exhibits and museum educators and off-site learning with science outreach, Discovery Gateway Children's Museum encourages children to spark their curiosity and learn through play, helping to further advance children as they excel through their educational journey. Our engaging and interactive activities inspire creative play and learning and fun for the entire family. It's never too early or late to introduce your child to the transformative experiences that museums offer. Instill in your child art, nature, and science, and develop a curious mind for life.
For more than 40 years, Discovery Gateway Children's Museum has been a critical part of our community. For more information, visit the Discovery Gateway Children's Museum's website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bonas. First, a delivery truck driver in Box Elder County spotted a house fire soon enough to keep the home from being a total loss. Second, opioid drugs are being prescribed less often in Utah as doctors try to deal with addiction. And third, some Smile Direct Club customers stand to lose the money they've already paid for teeth aligners. A bankruptcy judge will decide whether they get their money back. Right now, 37 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
All right, final segment for Marty and I. No Debbie Dujanovic today. She's off. She'll be back tomorrow. No worries. But we were watching. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 6 monitors in this. Well, okay. We have 6 television cameras or televisions, and we have 4 monitors. We have so many monitors. Oh, I missed one. We have it. There's another one. There's a 7th TV.
There's the one behind
here.
you that doesn't really do anything.
It just has some logos.
One of the monitors has 4 stations on it at once.
Yeah, we're monitoring things all the time. But we both caught out of the corner of our eye this wild video where it had referees fighting each other in the middle of a basketball court in a 4th grade basketball game.
Oh my goodness.
So, Marty, let's see if you can do a little bit of the play-by-play here. If you can go back in the memory banks, what did you see from these referees?
Weighing in at 185 pounds, it's about between 3 referees. They jump in, they're like wrestling on the ground with each other, and then 2 of them kind of pop up and square up like they're going to box. It's funny to kind of watch it, right? Because we're just watching it. We weren't there or whatever, but I just can't help when I see something like that just to think, have we all forgotten how to be adults? Did we miss a step somewhere where we just realized hey, you can't do that? And even we heard the one voice on there where there's a guy, probably the guy holding the phone or someone very close to him. It's like, oh, the referees are fighting. And it's like, no, the adult goes out and says, guys, it's a 4th grade basketball game.
Yeah.
Straighten up. You're the refs.
There's no question. I'm trying to figure out how does this happen? And when I've done some refereeing, I've been a coach, I've been a player, I've done it, and it seems like for some reason in high school, junior high, competitive athletics, or even low stakes rec ball, emotions for some reason, as soon as you step into a gymnasium, they already are heightened to a 7. You come in at a 2, you don't care about anything. You step 1 foot on a basketball court, whether you're a fan, a player, a ref, or a coach, you're up to a 7, and it doesn't take a lot to get to a 9.
That's true. I can buy into that. I was thinking these are the kind of refs you need for church ball because they're so unpredictable that everyone else is going to fly right.
Call a foul, take a swing kind of behavior.
You can have a free throw, but you're going to have to fight me first.
You're gonna pay for it. It's all right. So one referee was knocked to the ground, being punched by the other official. All 3 referees, surprise, surprise, have been suspended. The police are now involved. But yeah, when the 2 refs squared up, they're tossing wild right hooks. Hits one, sends him to the ground. Another referee was just throwing little jabs and punches. The bystanders eventually intervened. But
I guess what I don't get, and it's not made clear in either the video or the story, but okay, I can get that a coach might be mad at the ref, or the ref has had enough from a coach, or the ref has heard enough from one of the parents in the stand. That would seem more plausible to me. I don't think I've ever seen an officiating crew have beef internally, and then to start swinging on the court. At what
you should have called that foul. Not calling that foul.
What could they possibly have been disagreeing over that much?
And especially in 4th grade. I don't know if you've seen a lot of 4th grade basketball. It's illegal.
Someone's calling carrying.
Oh, yeah.
By the book. And the other guy's like, hey, they're 4th graders. But if that's the guy going, hey, they're 4th graders, that sounds passive enough that you're probably not, hey, they're 4th graders. And if you call one more carrying call, if you call one more double dribble,
we're going to have to step outside.
We're squaring up. Yeah. We're throwing hands. I don't know. Let's just all remember that most of the stuff isn't that important. Let's not fight over it.
This is what's so problematic, and where I look at when you're being a referee, and being a referee right now is incredibly difficult in the sense of just getting people willing to be a referee. all of us want our kids in sports and doing this and being outside, not staring at a screen. So we spend a lot of time, money, and effort getting kids involved. We get them involved in sports. The problem I have found, and I've been a comp coach before, the problem is when you dedicate as a family member time, money, resources, effort, emotions into a sporting event, even if it's fourth grade basketball, you just have a heightened sense of emotions because you want it for your child. You want them to succeed. You're like, well, we're spending all this money. I just bought some brand new Jordans. They'll set me back a couple $100. And then all of a sudden it has this outsized importance in our life. And I think it's fundamentally the problem with having so many sports with so much money involved.
Yeah. And I get that from like a parent's perspective. I have my son played competitive soccer for a number of years.
Yeah.
And it was weird. You'd get out there and be like, well, is he in the game? When's he not in the game? And did he make the right play? And is he helping the team? Like, as a dad, I think it's really easy in particular. I can only speak from my own perspective.
Yeah.
It's really easy to sort of like slip into vicariously like
playing.
You're out on the field with them. And I get that. I've just never seen referees care that much that they would say, hey, fellow referee, we're gonna swing here.
Okay, this is how it played out. This is unofficial, but in my mind, I am almost gold certified guarantee this is what happened. Is there so much pressure on the referees to get it right? Coming from the coaches, coming from the players, even the fourth graders. I hear fourth graders chirping at referees, believe it or not. The parents are putting a lot of pressure on the referees. So the referees have an inordinate amount of pressure to get it right. Now, whatever that means, like getting it right might be, I'm going to let this fourth grader travel every time he touches the ball because he's terrible and he would make it miserable for everyone else if every time he touched the ball, I just called a travel. So the right thing may not be, strictly according to the rules thing. But then you have parents that are chirping from the cheap seats that are like, he's traveling every time he touches the ball. And there is a pressure on the referees. And the referees, if they're not on the same page, well, you might be paying the cost of your buddy that's making all the ticky-tack calls.
Yeah. But even then, the adult thing to do is to say, all right, maybe we have a disagreement here. Maybe you need to settle down, parent. Maybe there's a disagreement between refs. If you're a ref and I'm a ref, and Dave, you're not calling the game quite the way I'd like us to, and maybe I'm the crew chief or you're the crew chief and we have a disagreement, what would have to go wrong to say, like, you know what, Dave? We can no longer settle this as gentlemen. I will see you at center court, and we are going to throw down.
One of my favorite things, talking to Greg Skordas, our KSL legal analyst, he said whenever two people get in fight, the person that gets charged, this is my favorite part, is usually the winner. They never charge the guy that got knocked out.
Yeah. So it means you can't win. You can win the fight.
No. You got to take a fall. Like you take a swing and then you got to go down immediately. Just pretend like you're the loser. Last guy up gets charged, or first guy up gets charged. Marty, thanks for filling in. Appreciate it. We'll have Debbie Dujanovic back tomorrow. We'll turn things over to Maria Chaleos and the KSL News team.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon, and this is Utah's Noon News. I'm Maria Chaleos. Partly cloudy skies. It's hazy in downtown Salt Lake City and 37 degrees. KSL's top story this hour. Local leaders gathered at Intermountain McCady Hospital in Ogden to celebrate a decrease in opioid prescriptions. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera begins our team coverage, Utah's opioid crisis.
That decrease in daily opioid prescriptions is 26% since 2017. Kim Campani with Intermountain Healthcare explains.
We now are giving patients just the right number of tablets to make sure that their pain is being relieved while not overprescribing. And I am thrilled to share With these efforts, we have decreased the number of opioids prescribed by over 13 million tablets.
To celebrate the achievement, a chandelier of pill bottles was unveiled. But with fentanyl still running rampant in Utah streets, Judy Williamson with the hospital said,
"There is a lot more work that needs to be done."
Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Opioid prescriptions are down, but street fentanyl, a deadly opioid, is still up in Utah streets. KSL News Radio's Hugo Ricard-Bell continues our team coverage. Hugo?
So, Maria, the amount of fentanyl in Utah homes and on the streets is growing exponentially.
I think in 2022, we were close to about 1.5 million fentanyl dosage units. In the first 2 quarters of 2023, we're at something like 1.7 million. So we're on track to hit or exceed 3 million fentanyl dosage units this year.
That's Assistant Special Agent in charge of the DEA, Dustin Gillespie, and he told me because of the saturated market right now, the street price for fentanyl is sometimes less than $1 per hit. In other words, if someone found some loose change on their walk home, it's all they need to buy a hit of the deadliest drug the U.S. has ever seen. Reporting live, Hugo Ricard-Bell, KSL News Radio.
U.S. traffic deaths are increasing after steadily declining for the past century. Communications manager with Utah Highway Safety, Jason Metman, says there would be many more if there wasn't the seatbelt.
For the last 40 years, automakers and safety advocates and transportation departments and law enforcement officials, we've all been pushing the concept of making sure that you buckle up whenever you get into the vehicle. It's an easy 2-second behavior that absolutely saves lives.
There are other contributing factors to the decline, including better roads, stricter laws, and advanced safety technology. KSL's top national stories. President Biden will meet with Ukrainian President Zelensky at the White House today during a critical time.
The White House says it's confident there's bipartisan support in Congress for aid for Ukraine, but National Security spokesman John Kirby acknowledged Tuesday morning it's not clear whether the Senate will come to an agreement on border security that Republicans and Democrats can both accept. Kirby said the president has indicated he's willing to make compromises, but again would not say what specifically the president would negotiate to reach a deal. The White House says the U.S. will not be able to continue to support Ukraine at the end of the year if Congress doesn't approve more funding. Lawmakers are scheduled to leave Washington at the end of the week for a holiday recess. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says Zelensky had a power presentation in a closed-door meeting.
He made it clear, and we all made it clear, that if we lose, Putin wins. And this will be very, very dangerous for the United States. So we cannot let Putin influence through any surrogate what we need to do for Ukraine.
The White House has warned that without continued U.S. support, Russia could get the upper hand in the war against Ukraine.
If we don't give the aid quickly, several things will happen. First, the military needs, but second, Europe and many other allies will say, what is going on here? They're not giving them the aid.
Some Republicans are opposed to any aid for Ukraine at all. Other national stories KSL is following. Republicans in the House held a press conference looking back at the tumultuous year that they had with the Speaker's chair turnover and what they plan to accomplish before the end of the year.
During a Republican leadership press conference on Tuesday, Speaker Mike Johnson said that the GOP has no choice but to vote on an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden, calling it a legal decision.
The impeachment inquiry is necessary now, as Whip Emmer just explained, because we've come to this impasse where following the facts where they lead is hitting a stone wall.
Republicans are expected to hold that vote on Wednesday over still unproven claims that President Biden improperly benefited from his family members' business ventures overseas. Liz Landers, ABC News, Washington.
Rudy Giuliani is facing millions of dollars in damages for defaming 2 Georgia election workers. He has already been found liable in the case. Now a jury will decide how much money he has to pay the 2 women. Here's ABC News senior national correspondent Terry Moran at the courthouse in Washington.
The judge in this case has already ruled against him, finding that Giuliani did defame Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. Now a jury will decide just how much Giuliani must pay. In his opening statement, the lawyer for the women played voicemails filled with racist slurs and threats of violence and told the jury how strangers came to their homes, some attempting to make citizens' arrests.
Giuliani's attorney says the trial has taken a toll on his 80-year-old client. First look traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. Freeway traffic looking good. We have the final cleanup, and it's almost cleared, of the crash in Ogden at Wall Avenue and 30th Street. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL quarters for Christmas time, 12:06.
Reliability, steadiness, trusted voices.
I'll listen to KSL in the morning, and if I happen to be in my car and I'll notice it's close to top of the hour, then I'll go there to hear the news.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Jeff Kaplan here for my good friends at Advanced Window Products. Jake Weber and Nate Orchard are spreading the holiday cheer with their biggest sale of the year. If the wind whistles through your windows, if you want a fresh new look for your number one investment, your home, call Advanced Window Products and take advantage of this incredible end-of-year sale. Replace all of your windows and frames, and you get $2,500 off. But that's not all. You get a free premium glass upgrade. Insulate your home against the cold with double pane windows and stylish frames, any style, any color, and they're built custom right here at their headquarters in Salt Lake City for 37 years. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. Plus, an additional $2,500 off and a free premium glass upgrade. You can save now, pay later, so take advantage. Call now, Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100, 801-850-9100, or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
It's not too late to save big on your holiday carpet cleanings. The Zero Res Holiday Sale ends today. Schedule your carpet cleaning today and pay just $25 per room. That's right, the $25 deal is back just in time for your holiday cleaning. Zero Res is the only no residue carpet cleaner in the area. With their ZR water, there's no soaps, no shampoos, and with no residue left behind, your carpets stay cleaner longer. Plus, with a no residue cleaning, you don't have to worry about any nasty chemicals left behind either. For carpets, ducts, tile, furniture, and more, Zero Res is the right way to clean. And if you've been waiting to get cleaned up for the holidays, this is the sale you've been waiting for. $25 per room for carpet cleaning. Sale ends tonight. Must schedule Monday or Tuesday, and you must clean before the new year. You don't have to clean today, but you do have to get on the schedule. Call Zero Res right now or jump online to schedule. $25 per room. Minimums apply. Zero Res, from Nephi to Ogden and everywhere in between. Online at zerores.com.
Positive mortgage news? Interest rates have dropped and trending down from 2023 yearly highs. Click loansbyrick.com. Purchase or cashback loans. Visit loansbyrick.com.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's Noon News. Recapping our top story, daily opioid prescriptions in the state have declined 26% over the past 6 years, but fentanyl numbers continue to rise. KSL News Time, 12:08. The holidays are a great time to dine and shop, but they can also be a prime time for thieves. One Salt Lake County woman found out the hard way when a couple took her purse and spent thousands on her credit card. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston reports.
It was the middle of the day in a busy restaurant with the victim's adult kids just feet away from the thieves. But KSL TV reports they still snagged 7-year-old Joy Thomas's wallet.
It makes you feel very violated and angry.
Thomas's daughter-in-law posted pictures from the Panera security cameras that show a woman at a nearby table pretend to drop something.
They just reach over, even with my kids sitting there facing them, and took out the credit cards.
Riverton police are looking into the theft. To see pictures of the suspects caught on camera, go to KSLNewsRadio.com. Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
The number of organized retail thefts dropped slightly in the first half of this year. However, violence during those crimes has increased. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has more.
Thieves are now brandishing weapons or holding shopkeepers hostage during so-called gang-organized retail shoplifting. Davis County Attorney Troy Rawlings says adding stiffer penalties to these crimes can go a long way to deter retail thefts.
Rawlings says Utah is one of only a few states which adds enhanced penalties when more than 3 people are involved in crimes. Inflation is slowing, according to the latest government numbers. Lower energy prices have helped reduce the cost of some goods. But Zions Bank senior economist Robert Spendlove tells Dave and Dujanovic people are still feeling financial strain, especially at the grocery store.
Consumers are grumpy. And they're grumpy because the rate of change is slowing, but the prices haven't gone back to where they were before.
Spendlove says prices keep rising in the service sector. Tomorrow, the Fed will decide if they will make any changes to interest rates. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Ricky Meese, what's making me grumpy is the fact that I haven't done much Christmas shopping, and we're less than 2 weeks out.
We are. It's right around the corner, so get on that, Maria.
No.
Well, for those who may be out and about doing a little bit of holiday shopping or enjoying some of the sights, we're looking at a nice and quiet drive on the Valley freeways and our main secondaries. In fact, I-15, that traffic rolling along both directions between Ogden and Provo. Now, we did have an accident, Wall Avenue, 30th Street, that has cleared. Murdoch Hyundai, home of 0% for 5 years on Tucson or Santa Fe. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly cloudy with a little bit of haze below that cloud cover today, high of 40. Overnight lows dip off into the low 30s, and for tomorrow, 42, mostly sunny, up to 43 with mostly sunny skies on Thursday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's 38 degrees. A lot of haze in downtown Salt Lake City. Still to come on Utah's Noon News, a mountain lion has been spotted in a Cottonwood Heights neighborhood. Do you know what to do if you come face to face with one? We're going to find out next on KSL, streaming at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Guys, does she need a little escape this year? Introducing Cozy Escape Pajamas from Pajamagram, America's PJ experts. These PJs are just the getaway she needs. So take that time off and plan a holiday staycation. Cozy Escape Pajamas make the perfect gift for your special someone who deserves a little rest and relaxation. Treat her to luxurious next-level Cozy signature soft fleece. They're as light as a dream and will keep her oh so warm, like snuggling in her favorite blanket. She'll love to cuddle in Cozy Escape PJs on those extra chilly nights. With Pajamagram, you can even add gift packaging. Order now for guaranteed delivery by Christmas. She's missed out on a lot of things she loves this year, so this Christmas, give her the escape she deserves. These new PJs are selling fast, so order today. Go to pajamagram.com right now. That's pajamagram.com to order Cozy Escape Pajamas. Pajamagram.com.
Hi, Andy Farnsworth here to talk about my soda weight loss journey. Well, I'm 2 months in, and I have lost just under 40 pounds. I'm averaging a little over 4 pounds lost per week, and yes, that even included Thanksgiving week, where I did get to eat delicious food, although maybe not everything at the Thanksgiving table. But I can guarantee you that nothing I would have eaten at that Thanksgiving table would have tasted as good as it feels to put on pants 3 sizes smaller than I was just 2 months ago. My clothes fit me better. I've found clothes that haven't fit me forever that I've been able to pull out of the closet. I've got a pile of clothes to donate that are now too big for me. It's a great feeling to get to those kinds of moments, and SOTA, it stands for state of the art, has been the key for me. Go check out some of the 8,200 reviews on sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. They customize the plan to fit my crazy lifestyle and to help me meet my goals. Sodaweightloss.com. All I can say is, it works.
Kidney cars, donate your car today. Tax write-off, hip, 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 hooray. Kidney cars, give your car away. Tax write-off, and you will save today.
The staff of the National Kidney Foundation of Utah would like to wish you a merry holiday season and remind you that it is better to give than receive, but not better than giving and receiving. For example, if you give your car to the Kidney Foundation, you may get a tax deduction. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS with a K. That's 1-800-TOWKARS. To donate your used car to the Kidney Foundation, call 1-800-TOW-CARS with a K. That's 1-800-TOWKARS.
Kidney cars, donate your car today. Tax write-off, hip, 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 hooray!
Call 1-800-TOW-CARS with a K.
KSL News Time 12:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
prescription opioids may be down, but the DEA says they're still seeing an increase in fentanyl, a street opioid, across Utah. I'm KSL News Radio's Hugo Ricard-Bell.
Second, a mountain lion has been spotted in Cottonwood Heights neighborhood. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Getting reports of a possible accident southbound on Foothill, just south of 1300 South. If you're traveling the Valley freeways or main secondaries, you're good to go. No other problems reported. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly cloudy and cold today with a high of 40. Sunshine tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
Hazy sunshine, 38 degrees downtown. Time for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Ukraine's President Zelensky at the White House to meet with President Biden this afternoon following meetings with lawmakers and a push for more military aid. Republican leaders say the U.S. supports Ukraine but will continue to tie any future funding to U.S. border security. President Biden warning that more aid is needed now with Ukraine running out of weapons and ammunition. ABC's Patrick Reevell has more on if lawmakers don't approve more aid.
That will send a signal to Europe that they alone are going to have to step up to do this. And while Europe is able to provide a lot of the aid for Ukraine's government and state, it really cannot fulfill the place of the U.S. militarily. Ultimately, the European Union and European Union countries have far less military equipment and ammunition. Their cupboards are basically bare after supporting Ukraine for the last 2 years. And so it would be a major signal for them and for Russia if the U.S. does not approve this funding.
Israel has opened another border crossing into Gaza in an effort to boost humanitarian aid, it says, for the 1.8 million Palestinians who are trapped in the war-torn enclave. Israeli forces inspecting those trucks before they pass through. Israeli forces, meantime, targeting Hamas in a key city in southern Gaza. ABC's James Longman says that intense fighting has led to more Israeli casualties.
The IDF says 105 Israeli soldiers have been killed. Of those, 13 have died in friendly fire incidents. It goes to show how dangerous the fighting has become, especially, of course, for civilians who are caught in the crossfire.
Harvard has announced its president, Claudine Gay, will keep her job. It follows the backlash for comments at a congressional hearing last week, failing to fully condemn anti-Semitism threats in the wake of the Israel and Hamas war. University of Penn president Liz McGill resigned last week for her comments. The Consumer Price Index rose 0.3% in November compared to the month before, a sign that inflation continues to cool. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The recent cougar sighting in a Cottonwood Heights neighborhood brings up the question of what do you do if you spot a cougar in your neighborhood or come across one on a hike? Faith Eaton-Jolly with the Division of Natural Resources says in most cases, just leaving a cougar alone to pass through is good enough, but there are ways to protect yourself in case of an aggressive cougar.
Typically, cougars actually are kind of the main way that they prey on something is they sneak up and they'll ambush them. So they're pretty secretive. You typically won't see cougars, honestly, because they're pretty elusive and they, are mostly active at dusk and dawn. And so if a cougar is lunging or bluff charging at someone, it's typically just trying to drive them out of the area because they have kittens or they've killed a deer nearby that they're trying to protect. So again, typically cougars are going to just run away faster than you are, right? So you typically aren't going to see them acting super aggressively unless, again, if they are trying to protect cougars in an area or they're trying to protect kill in an area. So in those situations, we do want to come and relocate them. In the rare event that you do happen to actually encounter the cougar, whether it's in your yard or on a hike or something like that, there are a few safety tips that we do recommend. So one is never to run from it, since that can trigger the cougar's instincts to chase. And so we recommend, stay calm, stand up tall, maintain eye contact, and make yourself look bigger by kind of raising your arms above your head or waving a jacket or clothing or something, and then talk firmly in a loud voice and just slowly back away from the area. So that's kind of what we recommend. And, obviously if it does happen to attack, which again is super rare in the United States for cougars to attack people, we do recommend to fight back and to protect your head and neck especially.
And that is Faith Heaton-Jolly with the Division of Natural Resources. KSL News Time, 12:19. Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. What's happening on the roads, Ricky?
Right now, we have a crash-free drive on all the Valley freeways. And it also seems to be a delay-free drive as well, including I-15 in Salt Lake County. There has been a little bit of heavy and slow traffic southbound on Legacy going from Farmington to Centerville, and that's where they do have road work taking taking place. No accidents reported, but we do have a KSL traffic trooper letting us know about traffic lights that are out at 2100 South and 900 West. Western Nut Company holiday gift centers are located in Layton Hills, Newgate in Ogden, the shops at Southtown in Sandy, Fashion Place Mall in Murray, and University Place in Orem. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, mostly cloudy, 40 degrees the high today, and a little bit of haze. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, up to 42. The slow climb continues as high pressure moves in Thursday, 43. 44 is sunny skies on your Friday. Working into Saturday, how about partly cloudy, 45. 46 on Sunday, partly cloudy, mostly cloudy into Monday, 47. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy, 38 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Some good numbers in the markets today. We'll check your money news coming up next. KSL quarters for Christmas time, 12:21.
They say good things come to those who wait, but we both know the truth. If you want the good things in life, you've got to go out and get them. So if you've been dreaming of a Cadillac, don't wait. Head to Jerry Seiner Cadillac and get one for yourself. With their award-winning XT4, 5, and 6 models available on-site and the area's top selection of certified pre-owned Cadillacs, there's no need to wait to drive in luxury. Stop dreaming, start driving. Visit Jerry Seiner and experience the Seiner difference.
Merry Christmas, honey.
A Bernina embroidery machine? It's wonderful.
Bernina products are wonderful Christmas gifts that you'll love and use. Take advantage of these holiday specials at Dave's Bernina in St. George and Provo.
Save thousands of dollars on world-famous Bernina sewing machines, such as the B700E for $2,999, the B500E $1,999, and get a free $2,000 embroidery module when you purchase the 770 Cafe machine.
48 months, no interest on certain machines.
Purchase the L890 Serger and receive a free Bernina Studio cabinet, a $3,250 value. How about $2,400 worth of free gifts when you buy a Bernina B790 Pro model?
25% off all Bernina luggage, embroidery hoops, and presser feet.
Amazing bargains on previously owned and demo machines with warranties at Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North, 550 West in Provo.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL News Time, 1224. Smile Direct Club has announced that it's shutting down and some customers aren't smiling. ABC's Mike Dubusky reports.
Customers are being told to consult with their dentists because Smile Direct Club will no longer be sending them aligners in the mail. The teeth straightening program from Smile Direct Club takes between 4 and 6 months and can cost about $2,000. The company says it's holding customers to their monthly payments and that information about refunds will come as the bankruptcy proceeds.
The company reported nearly $900 million in debt when it filed for bankruptcy. Watching Utah's Money, DoorDash and Uber Eats are moving tip prompts to after the deliveries are completed. This comes from some new legislation in New York City, which is also raising minimum wage to just under $20 an hour. George Santos says Jimmy Kimmel owes him big bucks. Kimmel recently took to Cameo, George Santos's recent side hustle, to trick him into delivering ridiculous messages through the personalized video service. Now, he aired those videos on his show. Santos says Kimmel paid the personal video rate instead of the commercial video rate on Cameo, shortchanging him just over $21,000. Kimmel says the idea that Santos is asking for money is comedic genius. Motor Trend's Car of the Year has been announced, and it's the Toyota Prius. Motor Trend says the Prius is the gold standard of hybrid cars. Now, this is the second time in the last 20 years that the Toyota Prius has been named Car of the Year. The last time was in 2004. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 113 points, sitting at 36,518. S&P, it's up by 12, and the NASDAQ is up by 68 points. The 2024 Motor Trend Car of the Year, again, as we just announced, is the Toyota Prius. Now, it hasn't been that for 20 years.
Stream BYU basketball.
Richie gets into the paint. Floater, yes!
Hear that breaking story with a flick of your wrist.
Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy resigning rather suddenly.
Get instant alerts on Utah news and weather. It's so easy. Get in your phone's app store and download the mobile app for KSL News Radio.
Let's get together for Christmas. Let's take our time and make new memories.
From everyone at Shields, we hope you enjoy the gift of family and friends this holiday season. It's a special time to get together with those you love to make new memories. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from all of us at Shields.
Gang together, let's get together this year.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Jeff Kaplan.
I'm originally from New Jersey. It's a little different than Utah. Oh, okay. It's a lot different than Utah. You understand what I'm saying here? I first came here on a date. I had an employee who lived in Utah, and I said, that girl, I think I'm going to meet her, and it's tax deductible. I never left. I've never left. I've been here for going on 15 years now, and we've been married for 12. I've been around the block in the radio business. I've worked for a lot of major companies. There are none with the commitment to the community that I found at KSL. There are none with the camaraderie of the staff that I found at KSL. And there are none with the commitment of management and the company to the safety, the health, the welfare of their staff. And I just love this place.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. At highway speeds, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop texts, stopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
KSL quarters for Christmas time, 1229, traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. And here's Ricky Meese.
Freeway traffic in the valley in really good shape, no problems there. A little bit of slowing due to road work, nothing major. Southbound on Legacy, leaving Farmington on the way to Centerville. And reports of a traffic light out at 2100 South, 900 West. Join the Utah Symphony for the greatest classical hits from the 1700s to today. Tickets start at $21. Get yours today at utahsymphony.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
40 today with mostly cloudy skies. You'll also notice the moderate air quality below that cloud cover. Yes, a little hazy. Overnight lows dip off into the low 30s. And for tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 42. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Hazy sunshine, 38 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. In Provo at this hour is 37. Park City is at 26, and in Price, 36 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's New News with Maria Chaleos
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time, 12:30. KSL's top story this hour. Former chair of the GOP in Utah, Derek Brown, is officially running for Utah Attorney General. KSL News Radio's Amy Kobabe is live with details. Amy?
This announcement today comes after Brown announced an exploratory committee just a few weeks ago. Former Governor Gary Herbert has led that committee and will now lead the campaign.
He's got kind of a wide variety of talents. He's demonstrated in the marketplace, and people just like him. He's a likable guy.
Brown says he thinks Utah needs a constitutional conservative who will always put Utahns first. This announcement also comes after current AG Sean Reyes announced just on Friday that he is not running for re-election. Reporting live, Amy Kobabe, KSL News Radio.
A mountain lion has been stalking a Cottonwood Heights neighborhood and was spotted on a doorbell camera 3 times in the last 10 days. KSL News Radio's Emma Keddington reports.
Jim Warburton's doorbell camera footage has not one but 3 instances of a cougar passing through his backyard in Cottonwood Heights. Faith Heaton Jolly with the Division of Wildlife Resources says mountain lion sightings like this aren't uncommon, but there are proper ways to deal with them.
If somebody does happen to see a cougar that's, showed up on their doorbell camera or is migrating through their neighborhood or yard or something, we definitely recommend bringing your pets and keeping your kids inside, particularly at dusk and at dawn.
If you spot a cougar, Heaton Jolly says to report it to the Division of Wildlife Resources. Then, they can relocate the cougar to somewhere much safer than a neighborhood. Emma Keddington, KSL News Radio.
Hikers who want to climb Angel's Landing in Zion National Park can apply for a permit starting on New Year's Day. The park has 4 different permit lotteries throughout the year. Experts recommend checking the air quality before going out. The inversion is building without any storm in the forecast.
The Utah Department of Environmental Quality said an inversion is setting up as soon as tomorrow. Bryce Bird with the department said working from home, carpooling, or taking public transportation can make a big difference. If that's not an option, cutting down on idling is the next best option. Bird also explained how cars starting with a cold engine outputs more emissions than a warm one, so daisy-chaining multiple trips can help too.
The KSL weather app can help you follow the current air quality conditions. KSL's top national stories this hour. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Washington again to lobby members of Congress for more aid. Here's ABC News senior Pentagon reporter Louis Martinez.
What the United States has really been doing 2 things. One, they've been giving Ukraine old weapon systems, and then they in turn buy back those systems from American companies. So the money essentially stays in the United States. There's another component of that where the United States also helps Ukraine buy new weapons. And those new weapons, again, are purchased with money that stays in the United States. So when we're talking about the $60 billion for Ukraine, it's really money that stays within the United States because it's just the weapon systems that are going over to Ukraine.
Republicans are still holding out on sending aid. Some are requesting it go along with money for the border crisis. Former New York Congressman George Santos is in court today, hoping to strike a plea deal on federal fraud charges.
Arriving at a Long Island courthouse to a crush of cameras and reporters, George Santos headed straight for the door. Court records released Monday show Santos is in talks with federal prosecutors on a plea deal to avoid a trial and possibly spare him significant jail time. In May, Santos pleaded not guilty to 13 charges, including wire fraud, money laundering, theft of public funds, and making false statements to Congress. Over the weekend, Santos appeared on a New York City television program saying a plea deal is, quote, not off the table. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Other national stories KSL is following. 75% of Americans say they've had a package stolen from their front porch.
The problem is more pronounced around the holidays when people who might not otherwise shop online are suddenly logging on. The best deterrent, says Corey Wagner of security.org.
If you can bring the package inside your house as soon as it's delivered, you're taking away the risk of the package being stolen.
Security system ratings company SafeWise says 119 million acts of porch piracy have occurred this year. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Here's a nice holiday gift for those planning trips coming up in the next few weeks. Gas prices are at lows not seen in a long time. ABC's Alex Stone has details.
It's a result of global demand for oil dropping quickly and OPEC not bringing down output levels as much. So now oil prices have fallen week after week, and U.S. gas prices are going down. The Energy Department reporting in the past week, regular unleaded went down another 10 cents to $3.14 a gallon on average nationwide. That's 10 cents cheaper than at this time last year.
Utah's average is sitting at $2.99 today. First look traffic. Anything happening on the roads, Ricky?
It's pretty quiet. We don't often have a noon hour quite like this. We do have traffic lights malfunctioning at Northwest 2100 South, but Valley Freeway traffic looking good. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
Join us on the community's #1 resource for news and fair, enlightening talk.
Listening to Dave and Debbie talk about the Israeli conflict was not one-sided. I really appreciate that.
Listen between 9 and noon each weekday
on KSL News Radio.
Okay, I want you to go along with me here. I want you to imagine a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse steak sitting on a plate in front of you, that 500-degree plate. It is sizzling hot. It is cooked to perfection. I always go for medium, and it comes out just right. And then I want you to imagine that first bite that awaits you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. There is nothing like it. That first bite is so incredible. And then all the side dishes and the desserts. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is the place this holiday season for you to take the family, take friends, take your company party. Make your reservations now because you're going to love the experience. And even though they're a steakhouse, they have other great entrees as well. 2 locations, Hotel Park City and right in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City. With all the great things going on, the place to dine is Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Cypress checking account members enjoy discounted rates on auto and RV loans, free access to credit scores, reports, and other products and perks. Learn more at cypresscu.com. Cypress Credit Union. Your future is our future.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's Noon News. Recapping our top story, former chair of the GOP in Utah, Derek Brown, has announced today that he is running for Attorney General. KSL News Time, 12:36. Anti-Semitic incidents have been on the rise across the country since the start of the Israel-Hamas war. But as the Jewish community celebrates the 8 days of Hanukkah, others are using the symbol of the holiday to show support. KSL News Radio's Dan Bomas has more.
Since October 7th, daily life for many in our community has been full of worry, strain.
Alex Shapiro is executive director of the Jewish Federation of Utah. He spoke at a menorah lighting ceremony for Hanukkah. KSL TV reports there's a nationwide movement to have families that are not Jewish display the 8-branched candlestick in their windows to show their solidarity with Jewish friends. Those who join are asked to post pictures on social media with the hashtag Project Menorah. Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio.
The White House East Room was packed with participants at the menorah lighting on the 5th night of Hanukkah last night. President Biden pledged to fight anti-Semitism and to support the existence of Israel.
Were there no Israel, there wouldn't be a Jew in the world that was safe. Were there no Israel.
The menorah is partially made from the original timbers of the White House. Firefighters are urging people to keep their Christmas trees away from heat and to keep them well watered. Unified Fire Authority spokesperson Benjamin Porter says Christmas tree fires are more common than people realize.
I would say a majority of the home fires that I personally have been on are due to Christmas trees.
You can see a demonstration of how quickly a tree can go up in flames on the Unified Fire Authority's social media accounts. A FedEx truck driver in Box Elder County was on the job when he noticed smoke coming from a home. Now, he called 911, and first responders were able to get on scene fast enough to prevent the home from being a total loss. Retired fireman Darren Hogue shared his thoughts with KSL TV.
That home was within, I'm going to say best guess, 4 or 5 minutes from being just totally involved.
The couple who owns the home plan to move into a trailer for now. A GoFundMe to help them rebuild can be found on KSL TV's website. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
We've had a little bit of busy and not really delayed traffic, but maybe not quite running at the speed limit. Northbound I-15 after 33rd to 2100 South. But again, it's just crowded in that spot. The rest of your Valley freeways, really I-15 in Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties, overall looking great. Traffic lights malfunctioning at the intersection of 9th West and 2100 South. The secret is out. Snowbird is a different breed of mountain. Enjoy Utah's deepest and steepest skiing and snowboarding this season by visiting snowbird.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Small low pressure system dropping off to our west of Nevada today. That'll bring mostly cloudy skies with a high of 40 degrees. It'll also bring a couple of canyon winds across the northern Wasatch Front late tonight, early tomorrow morning. For tomorrow, 42 and mostly sunny. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, hazy sunshine, 38 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And coming up on Utah's Noon News, we will talk with the member of the Salt Lake City Council about the city's affordable housing initiative. That's next on KSL, streaming online at kslnewsradio.com and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hey guys, Alex Curie here for Alpine Home Medical. You've heard us talking for years about Alpine Home Medical and the great service that they provide, bringing wellness home. That's what they do. They can help you with any medical supply that you have need of right in your home. They have brick and mortar stores. Yes, in fact, they have a brand new location in Tooele, and all of it can be intimidating when it comes to your medical supply needs. But don't let it be, because Alpine Home Medical has so many experts who can walk you through all this. Let's say you want to get a new CPAP machine. Let's say that you want to get part of their CPAP resupply program. They can do all of it. They can help you professionally, walk you through all of the steps to make sure that that CPAP machine is up and running perfectly so that you can be on your way. It doesn't just leave there. It's not about just selling the product at Alpine Home Medical. It's about making sure that you get the service that you need. Give them a call today. Go to alpinehomemedical.com to find out more information about how Alpine can help you in your home or at any of their local stores anywhere across the Wasatch Front, like I said, including at their brand new location in Tooele. It's alpinehomemedical.com, alpinehomemedical.com.
Holiday stories from Shane Company customers.
I didn't have a clue what to get my wife for Christmas this year.
I have everything I need.
Then it came to me, at Shane Company I could upgrade the diamond on her engagement ring.
Bigger and even more beautiful. I'll never say no to an upgrade.
As long as it isn't me.
Upgrade your Shane Company natural diamond center stone, studs, or pendant and only pay the difference from what you originally paid. 'Tis the season to shine. Shane Company. Fine jewelry since 1929.
In 400 AD, a forgotten time in ancient America, warrior prophet Moroni must preserve the history of his fallen nation while being hunted by a ruthless tyrant.
Where is the brave general now?
From Freestyle Releasing and Great Scott Entertainment comes
The memory of my God,
The Oath.
my faith and my freedom, my wife and my son.
The Oath, now playing in theaters. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. More information is available at oathmovie.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner?
Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight.
Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol. If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
Really?
I promise, Grandma. I love you too.
Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
Tim and Amanda.
If this is the first time you've ever joined us, can we just say welcome, welcome? I hope you come back and see us again. Tim and I have been doing this for a long time, and we love what we do. But the best part of what we do always and will always be connecting with you.
How many times do we say people don't understand how much information and really love we get from that side of the radio?
Yes.
They thank us for giving it to them, but we get it back so many times.
Wake up with Utah's Morning News with Tim and Amanda, 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time 1245. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a cougar sighting in Cottonwood Canyon has people asking how to best deal with cougars in the wild. I'm KSL News Radio's Emma Keddington.
Second, the number of organized retail thefts dropped in the first half of this year, but violence during those thefts has increased. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Looking at a nice drive along I-15, I-215, I-80, and the 21st South Freeway. No freeway accidents and no delays. You're looking at a nice and quiet noontime commute. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A slow and steady climb in the temperature department this week with a little bit of haze. I'm Matt Johnson.
Hazy sunshine, 36 degrees downtown. Time for KSL's top national stories from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Israel says it's discovered the bodies of two more hostages as IDF forces battle Hamas and search for more than the 130 hostages held since the October 7th attacks. At the White House this hour, President Biden meeting with Ukraine's President Zelensky on securing more military aid. Zelensky earlier met with lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Republicans say they want to tie any future Ukrainian aid to U.S. border security. GOP Senator Lindsey Graham, after the meeting, says Democrats need to step up to secure the border.
The likelihood of an attack on our homeland is going up, and we're doing nothing, in my view, to secure the border from a national security perspective with the proposals being made.
Special counsel Jack Smith requesting the Supreme Court rule on whether former President Trump is immune from prosecution while he was in office. It comes as Trump's attorneys are appealing a lower court's ruling that blanket immunity does not apply. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The Salt Lake City Council passed an ordinance to get more affordable housing in the city. It allows 3-plexes and 4-plexes to be built where they previously weren't allowed and for taller buildings in the city. Joining me now is Councilmember Darren Mono. Thanks so much for being with me today.
Thanks for having me.
So describe how this will make housing more affordable.
So it does two things. It requires new developers that want to use this tool to set aside a portion of their units in any multifamily development to be deed restricted affordable. And when they do that, they're allowed to do a little bit more, maybe build some more units, or the process might get a little bit smoother for them, or in some cases they can go taller as well. It depends on the zone and the part of the city that they're in.
What are you hearing from developers about this idea?
You know, I'm hearing a lot of people interested in rethinking their plans, where before they may have had a certain project going in one direction. I in my private practice as an architect, am helping some clients look at what they're doing and how to change their plans in order to make their project a little bit better, but also create affordable housing for the community.
Yeah, I'm curious as to why some of these things weren't allowed before. I mean, why weren't 3-plexes and 4-plexes allowed in certain areas?
You know, they were historically in Salt Lake City allowed in almost everywhere within the city, but in 1990s, when there was a big citywide down zone, rezone of the whole city, that made it a lot more difficult to build housing. And the facts were different in that period in our history, where there was quite a bit of vacancy and housing was in ample supply, and things are just different right now. So we're updating our ordinances and our codes to match our current situation.
Opponents to this have been concerned about narrow streets and traffic. What is being done to maybe address their concerns?
You know, there's a lot of people that are concerned about what this will do for traffic or parking. And the truth is, I can't tell you that it's not going to change some of those situations. Our city is growing and it's changing. And so a lot of those things will be a little bit different for residents, but these ordinances will actually allow those changes to include some affordability where our previous ordinances really didn't touch that.
We appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me today.
Yeah, thank you for talking about it.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is City Councilmember Darren Mono. KSL News Time, 12:49, traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. What's happening on the roads, Ricky?
Oh, you're good to go. If you're traveling north or southbound I-15, good speeds between Ogden and Provo. The only place it gets a little busy and you may dip below the freeway limit is in South Salt Lake on northbound I-15. And that's really from just before 33rd South to connect to go to I-80 and the 21st South Freeway. But all Valley Freeway traffic looking good, as well as our main secondaries. The Zero Res Holiday Sale is on now, just $25 per room for carpet cleaning. Schedule Monday or Tuesday and clean before the new year. Schedule today online at zerores.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. 40 today, mostly cloudy skies. 42 and mostly sunny for tomorrow. We get into Thursday, 43, mostly sunny. Sunshine on your Friday, 44, but it will be a little bit hazy. Keeping the haze around into Saturday, partly cloudy skies, 45. Upper 40s as we work into Sunday and Monday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Hazy sunshine, 36 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets. You're going to like what you see. Investors are in the buying mood today. Markets are up. The Dow up by triple digits. A complete update coming up next.
I guess it's human nature, Amanda, that no matter how much money we have in our savings account, it never seems like it's enough. And if you find yourself in that mode right now, let us direct you over to our friends at UCCU. They are wanting to help you supercharge your savings.
UCCU is offering high-rate savings options with yields up to 5.5%. All you do is go to UCCU.com and select a high-rate savings option to do just what you said, supercharge your savings.
You're going to get a much bigger return on your savings right now. It's a savings certificate, which means you make one deposit up front and your money grows over a fixed period of time. So you can have that grow over 5 years, but UCCU has created some very short-term savings certificates with high yields, short like 6 months, 9 months, or a year.
So you decide how long do you want to put that money. You deposit money, a one-time only deposit, and then you let it stay in. The longer it stays in there, the higher the interest rate you earn.
And if you need immediate access to your money, UCCU's Money Market will give you a high yield and anytime access.
UCCU, you're going to love where you bank.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Two friends taking pictures of the rising full moon on a summer night.
Two teenage kids doing what teenage kids do.
When a stranger with a gun and a death wish changed everything.
It was violent, it was senseless, and I will never understand it, I will never accept it.
I'm Amy Donaldson, and unfortunately, we're all too familiar with stories about how violence shatters lives. But what we rarely see is how they are rebuilt. In a new podcast, The Letter, we relive tragedy, but only so we can hear the rest of the story. The struggle to reclaim lives, the realities of grief, and the possibilities of forgiveness.
I believe in miracles. Sometimes I thought, there are no miracles. Yeah, there are, and this is a big one.
Follow The Letter at theletterpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
So, you want to be a hero. Here are some ways to get the job. Hunt down that killer shark. Or run into a burning house to save a kitten. Luckily, there's an easier way to become a hero. Call 911 if you see someone experiencing the symptoms of stroke, sudden weakness on one side, or trouble speaking, walking, or seeing. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. You'll be a real hero. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
KSL News Time 1254. There's a new list for most stressful jobs across the country. ABC's Danny New explains.
To figure out which job is the most stressful, we actually have data from the Occupational Information Network, which is part of the U.S. Department of Labor. They have ranked the top 873 occupations in terms of their metric called stress tolerance. Coming in at number 5 with a score of 98 in stress tolerance is a urologist. And at number 4 is a phone operator. Number 3 is a judge. Number 2, an anesthesiologist's assistant. But apparently, the number 1 most stressful job in the country is a film and video editor.
The least stressful job listed was a courier. Watching Utah's Money, a major effort is gearing up to mobilize money to save planet Earth by helping poorer countries go greener. Climate experts are saying trillions of dollars are needed to help the whole world go green. The plan combines carbon markets with cash generated by private companies. Airports and highways are expected to be busier than ever this holiday season. Auto Club AAA predicts that 115 million Americans will travel at least 50 miles from home this Christmas, about 2% more than last year. To address job burnout, the Occupational Information Network ranked the most stressful jobs in the nation. And again, the first was urologists who specialize in urinary tract and reproductive system problems. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up 133 points, sitting at 36,538. S&P is up 14. The NASDAQ up by 76 points. The Golden Globe nominations are out, but there's already some problems with the upcoming show.
The Barbenheimer juggernaut carried over from the summer. Barbie topped the film nominations with 9.
Hey, Barbie!
While its unlikely counterpart, Oppenheimer, got 8.
How about because this is the most important thing that ever happened in the history of the world?
Poor Things and Killers of the Flower Moon each got 7 nominations. Other significant nominees include Past Lives, The Holdovers, and Maestro. On the television side, Succession's 9 nominations made Warner Bros. Discovery a standout studio, along with The Last of Us 3 nominations and Barry's 2. Throwing a monkey wrench in the works, CNN reports that multiple celebrities have turned down the job of host, considering it thankless due to the politics involved. I'm Kevin Carr.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Introducing Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. We're bringing all of Utah's favorite HVAC, plumbing, and electrical brands under one roof. Call the pros at Yes and take $50 off any heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical system repair over $200. Get fast relief and $50 off any repair from Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. The same great people providing the same great service that Utah has counted on for more than 45 years. Visit theyesmancan.com to schedule your appointment.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 13 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, and Nevada, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, or other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 90 days from a station contest or event are not eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com.
KSL News Time, 12:59. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Let's check in again with Ricky Meese.
It's still an easy drive on the Valley freeways. No accidents, no delays. Our main secondary is also in good shape. We have had a little bit of busy traffic on 3300 South. This is kind of normal in this area, and it could be either direction of 33rd between I-15 and about 7th East. Enjoy Utah's beautiful snow and whole family fun with winter tubing at Soldier Hollow in Midway. Experience longer tubing lanes, shorter lines, and more fun. Book your session now at UtahOlympicLegacy.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And taking a look at the forecast for the Wasatch Front, pretty much what you see is what you're going to get for the next 7 days. We are looking at, looks like not even a chance of rain or snow until next Monday. And temperatures ranging from the low 40s to the upper 40s by Monday. Right now in downtown Salt Lake City, mostly cloudy skies, pretty hazy, and 36 degrees. Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson follows the news.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
1 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Becky Bruce. KSL's top story this hour. Police are on alert nationwide for threats of violence at upcoming holiday events because of the Israel-Hamas war.
According to the confidential intelligence bulletin sent out to law enforcement and obtained by ABC News, federal officials believe tensions related to the Israel-Hamas war will likely heighten the threat of a lone offender targeting large public gatherings in the U.S., including holiday-related faith-based events, plus New Year's Eve and First Amendment-protected events like protests and demonstrations that'll be underway.
That's ABC's Alex Stone reporting. In the wake of increasing violence during retail thefts, many shop owners want to know if they can legally fight back. Davis County Attorney Troy Rawlings says yes, but it can be dangerous and there are limits.
You can't up the ante with the level of force. You can't use more force